whatever's driving either decision will be passion,
Yeah.
right? And this is going to sound so stupid and corny, but passion is the only thing that will actually get you out of bed when your business is in the negative.
Yeah.
And it will actually get you hustling. If you don't have a passion or if you're following the wrong path, it's not going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
All of the brands that have been with us that are now incredibly successful, their founders are so passionate.
Yeah.
So
they live and breathe their brand. Hello and welcome to Truth on a Pedestal, a podcast solely dedicated to talking about how businesses are started and how brands are built. I'm Justine Malone, founder and creative director at Malone Co-Studio and your host for this podcast. Today, I'm sitting here with the founder of Chain Creative, Chain Social, and Penny Social. This is Shelby Van Zwol.
Yes.
I hope I said your name right.
You did.
Shelby is just the brains of the industry and when it comes to performance marketing in the beauty, fashion, and lifestyle industry. She has helped launch and grow so many well-known brands, and she is here today to tell us her story of how she built such a successful marketing business, but also a lot of advice for new and beginning and current businesses in the industry. So thank you so much. You're like a basket of advice and knowledge, and I'm so excited to share that with the audience.
Actually, I can't believe I've never done a podcast before. I've done this for 7 years and I've never done a podcast. I have so much information to share. So it's like, where do I start? Where do I finish? So I'm going to be guided by you.
Great. It might be like a 4-hour podcast that you
24 hours later.
24 hours later.
We're done. It's now a masterclass. It's a short course. It's everything in one,
Welcome to the masterclass of Shelby. All right. Well, Truth on a Pedestal, I always love to start from the beginning, and it frames you. So take me back to, your childhood, your family dynamic. Tell me about little Shelby.
Okay, little Shelby. So where do I begin? I think probably how would I describe it? I think my childhood set me up to be in business now because I grew up around a trailblazing mum. Mm-hmm. So my mum was always the, let's say, breadwinner of the family. So she was off working. My dad was actually stay-at-home dad.
Yeah. What did she do as a job?
She was an events manager, and she actually started a business in Australia about 18 years ago, which is where kind of my, career started, which sounds bizarre because I was literally 12, running sand sculpting events around Australia. Okay. So people may be familiar. They were in Melbourne and Sydney, Adelaide, Queensland, and they were literally that. My dad ended up becoming a sand sculptor as his job. He literally sculpted sand, and my mum would run these events, and we would have 150,000 people come to the Melbourne event. It was really big. We partnered with Disney, these big brands. And so from 12, I was practically not forced. I was invited to work from 12. So
more I don't have any babysitters for you. You're coming to work with me.
Literally. And my sister, who was 8 at the time, we would work in this Disney merchandise van at the event. There are photos of us. I had my big pink clip-on hoop earrings and I'm in my Disney t-shirt, and I was working literally selling plush toys, show bags. And I did that every single day of every single summer holiday. So it's funny and almost really sad saying it out loud, but I never had a school holidays. Yeah. Ever. What is a school holiday? School holidays were working. And it's nice because I also then reaped the rewards of that. So my parents would always take us on beautiful mid-year holidays because they would obviously work for 3 months of the year and then have 9 months off. And I would also have so much pocket money. So all my friends who were in year 6, year 7, year 8, they were always like, how is Shelby buying new things? It's because I'm working every day of the school holiday. Yeah. So while others were going away to Echuca for camping, I was selling plush teddy bears, and I worked my way up in the family business. So when I was obviously 12 and 13, I was doing smaller things, but I was cash handling because cash was big then. Yeah. So I was if people are buying 10 show bags, I'm having to add it up in my head. There wasn't a cash register. I was cash handling. So I think about it now and I'm like, that's such hands-on experience
learning.
And learning. I just... Even dealing with the public. I had rude people and I had to learn how to compose myself and communicate and say, I understand your concerns. Let me just get the manager, knowing that the manager was my mom, but still I didn't know that. It's very interesting because I think back and I think I didn't actually have a school holidays. I worked every single school holidays, but I think that's given me a really good work ethic and an appreciation for passion. So my mum was so passionate. Like she would get out of bed. She would work 17 hours a day. And she would get out of bed and she'd be so excited. Even my dad. My dad literally for 18 years has turned his artistry, he was an artist, like he could paint and draw. And he turned an art into a full-time career in something that people would never consider a career and make money out of, sculpting sand. And he still does it now.
So it kind of was like a bit of a family business. I mean, so you started at 12, but before that did your mum always work from?
So my mum actually worked in other companies. It was always in charity. So she worked for Vision Australia, she worked for the Spastic Society, and she ran all of their fundraising events. So back even for my mum when she was 18 won Miss Teenage Australia.
Oh.
Yeah, so like she from the minute of 18 she got offered a really great corporate job, and so that kind of followed her, and then I guess it has now followed me, as in I've been put into that space. But I'm so grateful for it because I know it set me up for
every
so
life
many
is
things.
different as well. So some people might say you missed your childhood, but
I did a little bit, but then I was working outside in the summer, and
every life is different. Yeah,
I worked alongside my sister like so intensively that it built, like I've only got one sister, and it built a really incredible relationship between us. So like we've grown up like this, even though we're 4 years apart. And I think it's because we were just put in these situations where we're like, and also it's a pressure cooker because no one else understands. No, like you just said, people on the outside would say I've didn't have a childhood or missed out on a lot of opportunity, but I think the opposite.
I think like it's almost when you say the people that had their childhood during the school holidays, that's actually more rare than kids working. There's a lot more kids in the world that work.
Yeah,
so
for sure. And like, and I think
12's not like it's young in some societies to
and
work,
it wasn't like,
but it's
it's
pretty normal in other countries.
For sure. And I think working in a family business, being my first job, was really valuable because family businesses are run a little bit different to like large corporations in so many ways. So it taught me some really good, it actually probably made me appreciate a really nice, welcoming working environment because what preceded working when I was 12, at the sand sculpting, when I turned 15, I wanted to get a job working for someone else. Like I was like, I'm going to go and apply for Target. So I was 15 and 9 months. And I'm like, I want to work at Target. I want to do checkout. I want to do scanning. Like I used to play shops as a kid. So I'm like,
something about
my dream.
Like, I want to just scan.
Literally, I'd be like, hi, how you going? Do you want a bag with that one? It was so exciting. And I worked it's terrible to say, but I worked at Target. I worked at Village Cinemas. I worked at
Why
Bardo.
is it terrible to say?
Because every single job I worked probably less than 6 weeks in because I could not stand how they ran the business. So when I worked at Target, they put me in Mr. Big, which was a really interesting move because I'm like a 15-year-old girl. They're putting me in like the 24 size men's like
that is
Mr. Big range.
Really interesting.
And I remember standing in the area and I worked at the regional Target, which was in Somerville. And I remember standing there and I'm like, okay, well, I've got to, make lemonade out of lemons. So I was like, all right, I am going to re-merchandise this whole area. I'm going to make Mr. Big feel great. Like the men are going to come in here. I can give them styling advice. I was like, cool, this is great. So I re-merched and I tidied, like everything was finger spaced. Like it looked incredible, right? And I thought I've done a brilliant job by Target. My manager came walking over and like looking back now, I'm like, I understand why, but I also wish she had approached it differently. She's like, you can't do this. Why? How dare you? Like, it was really aggressive.
Now your merchandising is like, you have a merch thing.
I know. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't understand. But it was so intimidating and she made such a big deal out of it that I was like, this isn't the place for me. Because
she just didn't explain to you that
the boundaries.
Well, it's like we're merchandising these products because they're in these ads at this time. Like as a 15-year-old girl, but I just was trying to do good at my job.
100%. And probably, because I'd worked in a family business where I had a bit more flexibility, I shouldn't have assumed, but I did. Similarly, I went and then got a job at Village Cinemas because I thought, you know what, maybe retail, maybe I'm all about hospitality.
She must have scared you and like
she
changed the job.
It was really intimidating.
You're like, I don't like my job anymore.
It was intimidating. And I was also like, you know what? I don't need this job because I've saved so much money during the summer. I'm not going to put pressure on myself. I was a very goody two-shoes too. So upsetting someone, I'm an empath, that really hit me to my core. I was like, am I a bad person? So I decided that wasn't the right environment. And
did your parents kind of?
Mum was like, that's fine. Mum's like, she understood. She was also like, maybe try somewhere else. Maybe there might be people more your age because also at Target in Somerville, they were all like older women. Like there wasn't a lot of young staff. And so I just didn't feel like I got along, you know. And so I went then and worked at Village Cinemas in Gold Class. And I thought this is great because I'd been to Gold Class a few times. I thought this will be an amazing experience, hospitality, this is good. And mind you, you're on a training wage for the first 150 hours. Well, this was back in the day. Your first 150 hours was training wage.
That's
it was
like
$6 an hour.
When you're,
it was like, well, yeah, because you would do a Thursday night for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So like I was like, anyway, but I was like, you know what? You've got to work hard at things, right? I've seen people work hard around me. So I was like, it's fine. It's again, money wasn't my driver. It was like new experiences, learning.
Yeah.
It's just so exciting. Say I worked at Village Cinemas. So you had to go through this big hiring process and I felt proud.
Like free movies.
So I remember like my second or third shift, they put me on the front door, which I was like, great, because I love to introduce myself to people and I love to walk them to their seat. It was really like, I felt like it was a good alignment. Yeah. And I remember this night so clearly, there was all the existing staff who would have been like 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, and also the manager who had this really blonde curly hair. She'd be in her 40s. Yeah. And I remember this so clearly because I was at the door and I was greeting all the oldies coming in for their Thursday night movie, and I sat them down, I was having a chat, and I went back to the door and I was standing at the door just like you do. I was just looking around, smiling, like how they tell you. They tell you stand there and just be graceful.
Be nice, yeah.
And then I hear my manager at the time turn around and go, "Oi, blondie." That's how she called across the room. Like I'm talking, she was 20 meters away. She goes, "Oi, blondie, go clean the windows." And there's a group of these existing employees, obviously all close. They're behind the bar chit-chatting, and I'm like the only new one.
Yeah.
And so, as you can imagine, that night my mum picks me up. I said, "Mum, I'm writing them a letter and I'm resigning." And I'm telling them that they've made a really bad mistake with their manager. Like, so I wrote the letter and I submitted the letter. I'm thinking about it now. I was literally 16 at the time.
Yeah. But it's good that you knew from
I just was
an
not going
early
to accept
age.
it.
You're like, that's not how you treat people.
And I'm too, like I was too.
A lot of us put up with being treated badly in a workplace.
I was too soft at the time to actually call it out. And also I'm new.
But
I'm not
you
going to call it out.
resigned. You didn't put up with it. You didn't put up with workplace bullying. Like you got out of there. And that's like, that's a lot.
I'll tell you what, the thing I always say, like the funny thing now is like this manager of mine that was at Gold Class now works as the manager at my local JB Hi-Fi. And I make an effort of going into this JB Hi-Fi to buy all of my new Apple Mac computers. So I'll go up to the counter and be like, "I'll have 12 Apple Mac computers, please." And I feel like saying, "Oi, blondie, can you wrap that up?" But I never do. I never do. But I think, you know what? It's a really bittersweet karma.
Nice and kindness.
Yeah, bittersweet karma, you know.
Yeah. But she may have been having a really bad. No, I don't know.
It was just like, it was so intimidating as well because it wasn't just her. It was a whole congregation of existing employees. And I just felt isolated and like they were almost like laughing. Like, it wasn't a good vibe. So
like
I quit
just
there.
trying your best to do a good job.
Yeah, so I quit there and I then went on to work at Bardot, and I had a really good long stint at Bardot.
Yeah.
I had like at least 2 years at Bardot while I was at university.
Yeah. So high school, before we go to uni, like what was your high school like?
Oh, high school.
Yeah, just like tell me about like your, I guess the subjects and like your friendship groups and how do you frame yourself in those years?
So I definitely was a studious student. Through high school, I was the teacher's pet type person. I actually really enjoyed school, and I always think back to why I think I did well at school, and it was because I have a really photographic memory. So it's going to sound really bizarre, but I can remember numbers or things I see. Like, so before any test, like I wouldn't actually need to learn anything. I would just regurgitate it the night before. Absorb it and then regurgitate it.
Just like read it through and you would have remembered
So like for high school, like when I was in my VCE, I was 0.5 off ducks of the school, and it killed me that I was 0.5 off ducks of the school because I was like, oh my God, that 0.5. But the subjects I did as well, no one thought I could get a good ATAR. At the time it was called an ATAR because I was doing textiles, so like fashion textiles. Okay. I was doing general maths, which wasn't even like not advanced maths, general maths. I did drama. I did, which now I'm like, of course I did drama. I'm so dramatic. I did drama, I did business studies, and I did accounting. So
those all pair into you today, though.
They do.
They do. There's pieces of that. So drama, I mean, you might not be an actress, but you know how to act in certain scenarios. Like,
and I was always really
compose yourself.
I was always really confident. Like I think because of my childhood and being forced with the public.
Yes.
Like getting up on stage and doing a concert was easy. Like I could literally get up and talk to 20,000 people. It does not bother me.
Yeah.
Accounting
seeing your
helped me.
mum maybe taking charge of such like big environments that like,
for sure,
you know, would have. I'm only saying this because like my mum's a performing arts teacher and she's like do all these concerts and she's like put the shows on. She's like write the music for the orchestra and then she used to write the play and teach all the kids all of their lines, and then she'd put the big show on and she'd be up there. And as a kid, I used to sit there and watch her, and I'm like, oh, it's easy, it's normal. So then,
of course, it becomes your normal. It becomes your
that's
normal.
how you act when you're older. You just
Correct.
get up and talk to all these people.
And my dad's brother was really big in the improv community, so we used to go watch him at the Melbourne Comedy Festival and things. So
open mic nights.
I'd been around.
Confidence.
Yeah,
so you saw that it wasn't scary.
No,
to
it was
speak
normal.
up
It was normal, right?
Yeah.
And even business studies. My business studies, an accounting teacher, his name was Mr. Wong, and he made such an impression on me because he was just like, he came into, I went to a Christian college, which was very by the books, very
well, education first, like don't muck around.
It was just, like there was never, if you even touched someone, you'd get expelled. Like it was really by the books.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good environment for me for an empath because I didn't like violence. I didn't want to have like, kind of back to your point about what group was I in or like what my friends like. Everyone was kind of friends in our year level because no one had the ability, like there was no
any cliques.
There wasn't because they couldn't be because people just couldn't segregate and become bitchy because they get expelled. Like it was very, very
so it showed you that get along. Like,
yes. So Mr. Wong came in and we used to think he was like a baller. He'd rock up and he'd have like his, like they call them speed dealer sunglasses. He obviously wasn't a speed dealer, but like the sunglasses on. And he'd be like, right, today we're doing business. And he would talk about businesses he's ran and he would take us on excursions and do things that were just so outside of what we were used to.
Yeah.
So he really definitely motivated my interest in business studies. I think the teacher was more, like he was a great teacher for me because I feel like he was really
you open your mind, like your insight to
and
business.
he would talk about business he ran and like, so you just felt like you weren't just getting a teacher. You were having someone that had.
Business can be exciting. Because it sounds like you're in the school that was very controlled but organised.
Yes.
Working in a family business, you're always with the family, so it also felt safe. So then like you meet this person in business and you're like, what?
He was just a really good teacher. So like that made a really good impression on my kind of high school like years. And then textiles. So textiles was great. I've always liked fashion. In fact, I actually used to want to be a fashion designer. I used to look up and be like, I'm going to be a well-known fashion designer. I used to cut clippings out of like Dolly magazine and Cleo and make mood boards.
Before Pinterest.
Literally like this is old school. And that used to be like my thing. Like I would love it and I'd re-merchandise my wardrobe even though I had like 10 pieces of clothes.
And you dress so beautifully now. Like I watch you on Instagram when you post your outfits. I love them. Like
it's become like
I look at you and I'm like, I'm not even looking at my wardrobe after seeing Shelby's beautiful outfit.
It's funny. I feel like I've got like a really eclectic taste. So like you don't really know like what style you're going to see me in. One day I could be in like a blazer and the next day I'm in like a boho dress.
But it's That's
like I follow with how I feel for the day.
Yes,
so I'm like,
it feels like that. And
so I did textiles.
And you're bold in it. You're not reserved. You're not like, I'm just going to stay small and safe. And like, it's good. I love it.
Like today I'm wearing like Hawaiian pants. That's okay.
I love it. I didn't even notice that.
I know. I'm literally wearing Hawaiian pants. And then I did textiles. And so that was like a passion for me because I learned how to sew, which was an incredible skill. And my nan at the time actually lived in my family home with my family.
Yeah.
And my nan was
crazy.
No. Like it was actually like looking back now, it was such a lucky thing to have like my nan in my childhood home for like 10 years because we got to have dinner with her every night and stuff. And in the moment you obviously think, oh, get off my case, nan. But now you look back, you're like, what a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And so this dress that I made, it was this turquoise silk maxi dress. It had 20,000 individual crystal beads sewed onto it. And my nan, I shouldn't be saying this out loud because you're not meant to get any help from external people, but my nan actually helped me sew every single bead onto that. Like some days she'd do 10 hours of beading. And I won competitions as in like my dress got like put in the art gallery Victoria and stuff.
Did it?
Yeah, because it got into like a national showcase.
I wouldn't classify your nan as external help though. Like
you weren't meant to get any help, you know. So I was like, nan, shh, don't tell anyone. But I was like, how are they going to know? Like, you know, it's anyway, I think back now. But
I think it's beautiful.
I sewed everything else. It's not like she sewed the whole thing, just like maybe 20,000 beads.
Most people got help from internal family home people.
But it was great. And you had to market your dress. So you had to do a photo shoot for it and everything. And so like I started a photo shoot and I got a photographer and we did photos and we printed them out and like we spoke about who our target audience would be and who's buying this dress and what price range it is. Like it was bizarre when I think about it.
Thinking about product marketing, getting it out from high school.
And I loved it. I thought this is the coolest thing. I mean, the dress now I look back, it's fugly. Like it's horrible. But I was so proud of it at the time. So proud. I actually should wound up photos because I've got so many of them, and like it had boning and a corset, like it was silk chiffon.
Can you send the dress and we'll put like a link?
Yeah, I will actually. I will.
The dress
literally
that started Shelby's career.
Oh, and even the picture of my sister and I in the Disney truck with the big hoops, like it's just it's so visual. Every now and then I come across a photo in my camera roll. I'm like, oh my God, it's just insane to think about it. Yeah. And so those were the subjects I did, and it's really funny because there was a teacher at my school that we had like a careers teacher, right? Yeah. And the careers teacher, I used to say, look, I want to go and do business marketing at university. Like I knew that was the next kind of step. Yeah. She's like, well, you're not going to get the ATAR you need to get into business marketing with those courses because all those courses get marked down, like against, science and all the other, even like advanced maths that get marked up. And I was like, watch me. Like at that moment I felt like
oh, you giving
so
me a challenge.
internally motivated. I'm like, okay. That's why I think when I missed out on ducks just by that tiny 0.5, I was like, damn it, because I wanted to prove it and be like, what was that? Sorry, at the back. Like, but I didn't have to do that. And so that was like high school was great. I had a really good high school. There was no kind of moments that I don't think defined me, but I did meet my partner when I was like 15. So he was like very much involved through my high school years. Yeah. Which was interesting.
So he went to the same high school?
No. He played basketball with my dad. And so this is a story I tell all the time. People are always like, how'd you meet him? Because we're married now, but dated for 15 years and like half my life, right? Yeah. And so in year 10, I was, as you would know, studious. So I used to do my homework every night, go in my room, we had a little desk, I could be great. And one night I'd finished all my homework and my mum's like, Shelby, I'm going to go watch Dad play basketball, you should come. And I was like, I have nothing else to do. Like I'd already been on MSN and done my chats,
MSN
MySpace. I've updated my MySpace top 8, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, I can.
When social media was simple.
Literally. So, okay, I think about this all the time. I put on, and looking back, it's so funny. I put on my Juicy Couture tracksuit, which is like a velour tracksuit, which has like Juicy on the butt.
Yep.
And went to watch my dad play basketball because he was playing at the local basketball centre. And I honestly swear to God, I thought he played with like men his age, right? Yeah. I was under the impression he played like 40-year-old basketball. Yeah. Like, I'm not thinking he's playing with 18-year-olds. So I rock up and the team, he's the only, like he was like 45 at the time. He's the only 45-year-old. The rest of them are 18-year-old boys, the whole team.
And you're like,
and I was like, no. I'm like, this is torture.
Like, no. I need to go home, Mum. I need to get changed.
Look, I was mortified because I was like, of course, single, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's boys here. I was 15. Yeah. So I was like, there's boys here.
And I'm in my Juicy Couture tracksuit.
I know. That should be burned. It actually got a rip in it. And my husband was like, thank God it got ripped because I could never have the balls to tell you.
I really don't think we should be wearing tracksuits with the word juicy on the butt.
I know. And I think back now, I'm like, Mom. But anyway, that's another conversation. So I was there and I remember looking at my husband, his name's Josh, and being like, oh my God, that guy is so bloody attractive. But I was like too nervous to say hi. So I was telling Mum like, oh my God, Mum, look how gorgeous that boy is. So anyway, at the end, my mum, being my mum, was like, Peter, which is my dad, get that boy. So it was the most embarrassing thing. So Dad's like, oi, Josh, come meet my daughter. And like he had to walk up all the levels of, like when there's like the grandstand. He's walking
like,
up all
this is so slow motion.
And I was like, oh my God, like get me out of here. And then from that moment, I started going back to Dad's basketball. I was like, oh, now Dad, I really want to watch you play basketball. And that's kind of, so Josh kind of introduced into my life in year 10. And so he has been involved since, which is good. So I think that's been an important part of my—
You've had a support there.
I've had a great, I think back to my family unit. So it's my mum, my dad, my sister and I, and we are all really close. I have never had my internal family have issues. So I've never been in a disrupted home, which I know is a very, very lucky thing because I've had a lot of friends that have had broken home environments and it's really sad. And then also my nan then lived in the house and that was because she had issues outside. And so she came into our unit and then she was part of that family unit. Yeah. And then my husband, or my partner at the time, Josh, he grew up in a really beautiful family. He was an only child and his mum and dad are very similar to my mum and dad, got a really great marriage, happy family. So then he integrated into our family. So I've had definitely an incredible support unit
very
since
calm,
I've had a very calm, a lot of that. So I do think that's been of advantage. Yeah.
It gives a lot of confidence and security.
Absolutely. I think as an individual, it's built my character, which has given me opportunities. Yeah. And now I try and replicate that in my little family. Yeah. Because I'm like, I need my daughter to have the same environment so she grows up really confident and independent. My mum actually used to drill into us, especially once we got into our dating years, that you want to be an independent woman, as in like she always said you need to earn your own money. You need to have your own job because you don't ever want to be in a household relationship where you need to leave and you can't. And she'd known people in her life, her friends that had that happen. And so that's kind of stuck with me. So now I'm like getting that ready for my daughter.
I got told that when I was when I first moved to Melbourne. My first boss, she told me that and then about a year later she divorced her husband. So I know where it was maybe come from now, but she said to me, just make sure that you can always stand on your own 2 feet.
That's
make
exactly
sure you have enough money to be on your own, and you can be on your own and never depend on a male. And I saw
a partner, right? Of any sort,
Well, for me. But and I was talking to a friend the other day about like what partner I'd want for their daughter or my daughter, and I was like, I want my daughter to be able to be confident in herself first, stand on her own 2 feet first. So that the partner she chooses in life, she's not choosing them for a confident boost or I need you. Like they're choosing them to bring into their already secure life.
Honestly, I feel like it's such an important thing. And I know this is like so unrelated to business or anything along those lines. But when you are confident in yourself and you're happy being alone, that's when you're happy being alone, that's when you attract the right partner. Because the partner's not filling a void.
Exactly.
They're actually just adding benefit or value to your life. So my partner is the complete opposite of me. Like if you were literally to think of the opposite personality type, it is my partner. He's slow, he's calm, he's soft, he's gentle, he's funny. I'm fast, I'm always on the go, I'm very like outspoken. I do think I'm very loving and caring though, like for everyone around me, but we are complement because
your energy levels are different.
Honestly. And so raising a child together is great because I think my daughter sees both. And so she's got a bit of both. So it's really nice. So
So you studied marketing and business at uni.
Yes.
So you like really started to get the grounds of that through uni. And then when you came out of uni.
Yes. So what happened next?
Yeah.
So I took a couple of like gap periods at university. I went through the traditional like 19-year-old life crisis where I was like, why do I need to do university? What a waste of money. I want to be a real estate agent. Like I went through all of it, right? And I finished my degree and I got offered through connections because through the sand sculpting, my mum worked with Channel 9. They were a lead sponsor of all the events. So I got offered a PR internship at Channel 9 and I thought this would be a great opportunity. Like I am obsessed with like PR and media. Let's go and do it. So I went and did that for 6 weeks.
And that's another point, you were open in saying through connections.
For sure.
Your mum worked up in her career, made connections and that helped you then get in.
Completely. So, like my mum, like her childhood and upbringing was disadvantaged.
Okay. So she came from nothing and she made her own.
Came from completely nothing. Like she tells stories of like winters where my nan would have to unknit one of her jumpers to knit the kids' jumpers. Like I'm talking like nothing. Like mum had to save up for like 2 years to buy a netball. Like literally she always speaks about it and always says like you girls will never understand. And I definitely don't understand because I've never been in that position, but I also can now think as a mum how heartbreaking that would feel.
Yeah, my mum used to say she was one of 6 and they would have one chicken and she would get just the wing.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was like,
that's with my mum. They would have
leftovers. And she's like, if you didn't eat your food quick enough, if her brothers finished before, they would just like get hers off her plate. She just like smash it down.
And this is what kind of is very similar. So my mum definitely came from literally nothing and we do speak about like all the time how she did just kind of break out of maybe a generational mold. Like she has broken out of.
Coming from nothing can almost make people feel guilty when they get a lot.
My mum now, and she'll kill me if she listens to this, she is a bit of a hoarder. As in like her house isn't hoarded, her house is like a display home. But that sounds very natural coming from she won't let go of things. And I'm like, Mum, let go of it. But she's like, no, you don't understand. And even growing up, my parents went away on an overseas trip for 6 weeks and my nan looked after us at our house, which was fine. And Taylor and I honestly thought we were doing Mum a favour by going through the freezer and throwing out old meat because I was like, oh, this expiry date's been like, I was none the wiser. Like I was 16. I didn't realise the expired meat in the freezer doesn't expire type thing.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
I'm surely. It's
like, well, that's what I was like trying to make my case. We threw lots of things out. Yeah. And my mum absolutely lost it at us. And she was like, how dare you? Some people can't even eat and you are standing here just throwing out meat. And I was like, Mum, it's off. But anyway, I get it now because she thinks about how my nan lived in the home and my nan obviously struggled to even put food on the table for the kids. So how like rude or like almost entitled it seemed, just be like, throw the beef out, throw the chicken porks out.
So
chicken pork, what the hell is chicken pork? But you know what I mean?
Kind of a very interesting
and
relationship.
So I definitely feel my mum's business and her connections allowed me a entry point, but then she wasn't never handed those on a silver platter.
Well, you might get the connections, but if you're bad
still
at the
work
job, you've still got to prove yourself.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the more relationships you have in life, the easier life is. And I always say that on repeat.
For sure. Yeah. And to be honest anyway, I went into this PR internship at Channel 9 and it was great. I worked alongside their head of PR marketing.
Really exciting.
It was so cool. Yeah. I went to like the Today Show, the Footy Show's 50th birthday party at Crown, and I drove like the Today Show truck around. Like it was really fun.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I actually got offered a job.
Okay.
But I declined it. And
what was the job?
It was going to be like a junior publicist for Channel 9.
Okay.
And you're going to probably think this is crazy, but excuse me. When I was on the train on the way home, I called my mum and I said, Mum, I've just been offered a job. And she's like, that's brilliant. I said, yeah, it's brilliant, but I don't want to take it. I don't want to go on the train every day. Mum was like, Shelby, oh my Lord, what do you mean? Like everyone goes on the train. I said, I don't want that to be my reality, Mum. Like I want to be home at 5 o'clock. I want to like do things in my life. And Mum's like, you can't, that's not how business works. I'm like, well, it is in your world.
Yeah, I guess
I literally
your
turned around.
generation is like you work, and then our generation is like work-life balance.
Correct, but I remember thinking, I said to her, I'm like, but you finish, like you don't work 9 months of the year, so that's not normal. So anyway, I called it out, and then Mum's like, well, you need to have a job. And I was like, well, can I come work for you full-time in marketing and PR of the business, the master business? And she's like, I didn't think you'd want to. I said, well, challenge accepted. And this is where things like get so interesting because that's where I was introduced to digital marketing. And it wasn't through my mum.
What year was that?
This was in 2012 or 13.
Oh my gosh, that's when everything started.
It was like just starting. So mum had...
That's when everyone was like, what is this? And building EDMs in Dreamweaver and slicing them up and exporting them into... Yeah, literally. I don't even want to go back to those days. No.
It's just my... Mum did everything traditional because she was a traditional marketer. So she would be like, let's put billboards, let's get TV ads, let's do radio, let's do newsprint. And I was like, have you ever thought of doing like Facebook advertising or Instagram, Mum?
It's so new.
And she's like, no, like we don't even have an Instagram page or a Facebook page. I'm like, well, let's do it. So anyway, my mum would spend really big 6-figure budgets on marketing these events because they were really big national events. And I convinced her in the first year of working with the business to spend $10,000 of that budget, which was minor, on digital marketing. Yep. So this was the year
which would have stretched far back then as well.
Oh, so far.
Yeah.
I talk to clients all the time. I'm like, if only you understood. If you started 10 years ago, like our CPAs were like 2 cents. Like just unheard of.
And nobody was really
No one was doing it. No one was doing it. And so I started doing it for my mum's business. And I don't know what I was doing. So I was on YouTube and I was like doing YouTube courses trying to understand how do you even log into Facebook Ads Manager? Like, is it even a thing? Like, it was really crazy.
I still don't know how. But
and it was really nerve-wracking because $10,000 is still a lot of money and it's my parents' money. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't want to muck this up. What if I ruin the event season? Like, what if my family can't eat for the year because of this? Like, it was all the things. Yeah. So
shouldn't throw that meat away.
I know. Literally, I'm like, damn it, get it back. So I ran some Facebook ads after lots of just like kind of trial and error. Yeah. And the event had like it was like 75,000 more people than usual come.
Were you able to track?
Yeah. So we are very old school. We at the counter, like when people bought tickets either online or at the counter, they would have to put how they heard.
Yeah.
And Facebook was like 75% of the people that came. Wow. And my mum was like, oh my gosh. So as you can imagine though, not only was this brilliant for the family and the business because it's just like completely opened to a whole new cohort, but local businesses in our area started contacting my mum, being like, we've seen you're running ads. Who's doing it for you? Who's running your Instagram? Who's running your Facebook? Because I grew their Facebook page to 50,000 followers in the first year because we put in place like people could get like a free icy pole at the kiosk if they liked our Facebook page. Like I was integrating. This is very old school, but I was integrating.
I remember doing those back in the days. Like if you like our page, we'll give you this. Nobody does it anymore.
No, because Facebook pages have become now more just like data housing. It's not so much like a thing. But back in the day, you would get unrivaled engagement. Like you'd reach 50% of your audience. It was crazy. So I did that, and that is actually how I never intended to start my own marketing agency. And to be honest, when the first brand reached out, my mum introduced, and it was a local business in our area called Gravity Zone, which is like an indoor trampoline center, kind of like Bounce that's in the city. Yeah. And I thought, you know what, I've been here before. I think I can do it. And the thing was, I was like, my husband and I just bought our first, like I was only 21. We just bought our first property. He's an apprentice. Mm-hmm. The money would have been really helpful. I was like, this will help pay our mortgage.
You're in the age where you're like, I got my full-time job and I'm going to take a bit of a side hustle.
I was like, you know what, if I have to do a few hours on the weekend, that's fine. Yeah. Right? And my mum was like, I think you should price yourself at $65 an hour. And you can imagine, because obviously my job with my family's business was my first job. My full-time salary was like, I think $45,000 or $50,000. So charging $65 an hour, I was like, what? I'm going to earn $200 or $300 in a few hours, like 5 hours. What? And so I remember pitching it into Gravity Zone. They're like, yep, sure. Just send us over your contract. And I was like, I didn't even have an ABN at this point. So I had to put it through my mum's ABN. And I did that. And within 2 weeks of doing that, they then recommended me to people. So I had this company called Wilton's Cookies, who was like a supplier of Gravity Zone, reached out like, we need marketing. And then this other restaurant reached out. Like it was a spiraling effect.
Yeah, and it was, 2012, 2013?
It was the boom.
Again, it was booming.
It was booming, but no one was doing it. And to be honest,
And no one knew how to do it.
I believe everything happens for a reason. Yeah. And I believe that I was meant to say no to that 10-9 job to then work in the family business and be given the platform to actually learn those skills and prove. Like I had proof of work, as in like I could be like, I've actually run Facebook ads. Back in the day, people weren't having jobs with Facebook ads. It wasn't a thing.
And you may not have had like working in the family business and going, hey, I'm going to try this. Like
it was trial and error.
You were
for sure.
You had the space to trial something. Whereas if it was somebody else's business, they may have just been like, you're not going to try something.
Correct.
This is your
proof.
job.
I need proof.
This
Correct.
Is where you're like, okay, so you kind of get having that space, which is nice. So maybe if you didn't have the family business and like anybody out there who's trying something, like try it on your friends or try it.
Do you know what though? I do think that despite this path, I do think I was somewhat destined, part of me, to run my own business because I kind of forgot things. I imported jewelry from China when I was like 17 or 18 and ran like a Facebook page selling like fashion costume jewelry that I bought from Alibaba and was reselling, and I would do jewelry nights at my mum's house. I'd decorate it up. And I would make so much money off that. I was making like $3,000 a week and I was 18. It was nuts. So
you already you didn't have the hunger for it, but you're like
the tenacity to run a business.
If I do this right, there's more money. I have control. I'm not getting called hey blondie from across the room.
Correct. And I work for myself. And I actually remember when I worked for my mum, because we would obviously, my mum was a great boss to work with because she was very harsh, as in like she treated me like an employee, but she also treated me like a daughter at the same time. Yeah. So we would go to like Chadson and be like, we're just going to do some work. We'll go to a meeting with Disney and then we're going to go shopping, right? And I still do that with my team now. Yeah. I was like, let's go have this meeting, then we'll go get lunch after. Yeah. And I remember sitting at the cafe opposite Manning Cartel in Chadson, and I really wanted this dress. It was like $700, but of course it was like my whole salary for the week. And I said to Mum, I just don't ever see a time in my life when I'll be able to just like buy myself a dress I want to buy. Like I see all these girls going and they're just like tapping their cards, and I was like, I want to, and it sounds crazy now, but I was like, I just have this internal motivation to be able to buy myself a Manning Cartel dress.
You want to be able to not look at your card. You have enough money to just...
honestly, that was like a motivator, but I didn't know how it was a motivator. And Mum used to be like, well, just work hard and one day it will come. She used to literally say that. And I used to be like, oh, great advice, work hard. Like everyone tells you to work hard. Everyone works hard. Doesn't matter what job they work in. Like everyone works hard. Just people get paid differently.
But you got to work smart. I had to say the same thing to my brother when we were... like 5 or 6 every now and then. Like my mum would get a Kit Kat and would give it to us, and or like a piece of chocolate, and my brother and I would just then like lick it because we had one piece. And I remember turning to my brother when I was a kid and said, I want to be so rich one day that I can
buy these, right?
Buy a chocolate bar and just like eat it. I don't have to lick it. And I was just like, I look back at that now and I was like, oh my God. And so now every time I know it's like so much smaller. Yeah. But every time I just like bite into a chocolate bar, I'm like,
it reminds you.
That's not.
It just reminds you, right?
It was a little dream, and it made me realize like you go from something to something else, and like you don't even realize that.
I know.
I got here.
You never celebrate the.
It's not a $700 dress. It's a $1 chocolate bar, but
honestly, and I think it sounds terrible to say out loud, but that genuinely was like such a sad moment in my life because I was comparing myself to others, and I shouldn't have. And now like I've changed so much that wouldn't even motivate me now.
They're probably just tapping their credit cards,
but it wouldn't even motivate me now. Like that doesn't. What motivates me now is time with my daughter or like having holidays and stuff. But at that time, that was a motivator. Yeah. And my mum used to be like, just work hard. And I used to be like, yeah, great, Mum, I'll work hard. In 10 years or 20 years, I'll take over your role. Like, right, can't wait, you know.
Yeah, so you kind of wanted it, but you didn't know how to get it.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
So you started taking on marketing.
So I started taking on clients, and I got to a point where I was working full time, which was like a 38-hour week.
For your parents?
For my parents. Yeah. And they had an office just down the road from my house. So it was very chill. I used to go to work in like my pajamas. I'm not going to lie. And I still practically like do go to work in my pajamas now. Also not going to lie. I work there, and then I would go home and I would do my side hustle, which was doing Facebook ads, or it was boosting back then, Instagram management for these clients. And it got to a point where I had 10 clients.
That's a lot.
And I was earning more than I was earning in my full-time job doing this. And I felt really torn because I actually loved working and making impact in my parents' business. Yeah. And I loved also doing my side hustle because it gave me like a taste of what could be. Yeah. And so I remember sitting down with my parents. We went out to a restaurant near my house called Manhattan. And I remember saying, okay, I just want to let you know that I am going to be leaving the business, but you can be a client. Yeah. If you want, you can be a client. Yeah. I'm like, this is my packages type thing, right? And I remember mum being like,
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. And I used to say to mum and dad, I think I'm going to have about 15 clients by Christmas. And dad used to say, Shelby, you're doing amazing as is. Just set really realistic goals. I think 15 clients is a little bit advantageous. Like, just be grateful for what you've got. Like, enjoy the ride. You know, my dad is like, similar to my husband and my dad is the polar opposite of my mum. He's a surfer. He's an artist. Yeah. He's a go with the flow. He's the kind of one that's like, your mum's just talking shit. Excuse my language. Whereas my mum's like regimented, routine, driven boss lady. So it's very similar. And my dad was like, just, it's okay. Don't put pressure on yourself. Enjoy your youth. You know, like that was the kind of vibe. Whereas my mum was like, great work. This is amazing, you know. And so I quit. And that was in December of 2014. Okay. And 2015 ended up being a muddled year for me. So muddled being like it wasn't really an anything year.
You just coasted.
So I just coasted through. I was me, myself, and I. For the first half of the year, I had great clients. I was just like really enjoying like life. Like I was young. I was literally like
running a business.
I was 22 at the time. So I was like going out with my girlfriends and having fun.
Making enough money to live your life.
Correct. And it wasn't until the July of that year when I was 22 that I was like, I think I need someone to help me, because if I really need to either focus on this properly or just do this as a bit of like this is where I'm at, this is what I'm going to do, right? Yeah. And so I put a post on my Facebook page being like, does anyone know anyone in social media marketing? And like, of course, it's like no one back then that wants to come and work with me. And a boutique owner that I knew in Mornington in like our local area was like, my sister's just finished university doing business. She's like exactly like you, Shelby. I think you'd love her, right? And so I caught up with her name was Lisa. And I caught up with Lisa. She had no skills, as in like she had no technical skills. Yeah. She was just fresh out of uni. But I was like, you're hired. I could just tell her personality type we were going to mesh well.
You're like, I can teach you.
She was so driven, and I was like, we can do great things together. And so Lisa for 6 months was my only employee, and she just worked.
So you hired her as a proper employee or not as a contractor?
No, hired her as a proper employee, which was so nerve-wracking because I'm like eating into my salary and stuff. Yeah. And we were working out of my spare bedroom at my house, which was on a trestle. So the spare bedroom would be half the size of this room with a trestle and our laptop either side. And we had like, we had so many good memories. Yeah. We would have like wine and cheese boards while we had lunch. Like, it was a really great energy. And she used to be like, this is the best job ever. And we used to like, I think about it now. We used to time track on Excel. So we did 10 minutes for this client. And I'm like, it's nuts. So that was us for 6 months. And we did some cool things. We worked with lots of local businesses. Yeah. But in a lot of industries, like
portfolio.
We were working in real estate. We did stuff for the local Holden. Like it was bizarre. It was everyone and anyone under the sun. But I was so grateful because I was like, what a great.
So you were at the point where you were just taking on anybody who would.
Because I think at the time as well, I thought my skill set extended to all these industries. Yeah. I was like, I can do it for everyone. This is incredible. I can help all these small businesses. Like the more the better. I can help them all.
But we sometimes don't realize like your skill set might be niched, but if you're a niche into
my passion
industry, you can get even better.
I just realized I didn't have a passion for Holden SUVs. No. And it wasn't because their business wasn't a great business. I just couldn't sell or talk about Holdens. But I realized we were working for a few boutiques and I was so passionate, excited.
You did a better job for them.
And so this is kind of where the turntable moment was, where I was like, right, I can't work for everyone and I shouldn't. I need to niche. I need to focus on my passion. I need to understand what I actually like talking about and marketing and who are my customers of.
What lights you up when you talk about it.
Yeah, like I was like, I want to be able to sell things that I would buy. Yeah. Because I'm like, that's when you have passion, or as if it's my own business, right? And so the January of 2016, I was 23 and I officially started my business. So I launched an ABN because I didn't have an ABN.
Oh, so you were still working under your mum?
Yes.
Mum's ABN?
Yeah. No, I was like doing a bit under hers and just a bit like just people would pay to my bank account. Like it was like, please, if this is the ATO, like I paid all my taxes. But yeah, it was just, it was such like a side. It was like a hobby. It wasn't like a proper thing. But I registered a business.
There is that turning point where you go, all right, it's time to.
Well, my accountant was like, you've earned X.
Yeah, you need to start paying.
You need to have GST because I was like $2,000 off the GST threshold. And they're like, but the thing that I really was kind of put off by at this time, because obviously I was like, we were very much living week to week because my husband was an apprentice and like my salary was still like by the time you pay tax and stuff, it was just like a normal salary.
Yeah, it's just surviving.
And
bills.
I remember my accountant was like, okay, you need to set up a company, you need to set up a trust and all these kind of things.
And then you need to pay me thousands of dollars
to
do this for you.
I was like, do I even need this? Like, yes, you've got to protect yourself, etc.
Properly.
But I remember at the time it was like $2,500 and I was like, oh my Lord, like, are you just doing this? So anyway, I did it and I'm very grateful I did it because it's been set up correctly from the beginning. Yeah. And that's obviously been really beneficial to scale the business.
Yes. Yes. I think if you're living on the money and you want to make it, you've got to set up your business properly, get into the accounting system, start tracking everything because when you get bigger,
correct.
If you set it up properly, it'll flow.
Correct. So it was like I had to then get my job and I had to do bookkeeping and I had to like start looking at my systems. But I hired 2 more employees of the January 2016 because we were just really starting to boom.
Yeah.
And then only a few months later, I signed my first lease, which was so nerve-wracking because I remember thinking to myself.
Like a 5-year lease or something?
No, luckily it was only a 2-year lease, which was good. But still, it was really claustrophobic for me because by the time I worked out, I was paying my 4 team members and I was paying my lease, my tax and all my business insurances. I had about $400 left, right, a week. So I was like, and that was what I was kind of like, okay, I'll just buy my groceries. Like, that's why we were really living week to week because my husband's salary was practically driving us.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, if we lose a client, like
I have to lose an employer.
This is going to be really hard. But the early stages of the business are really hard. You do have to take risks. Like genuinely, I think back and my whole entire kind of motto has been like spend money to make money. Like I don't mind spending money because I don't mind taking the risk as long as the reward will outweigh the risk.
Yes.
And in my mind, I was like getting a professional space, having a professional office.
Do so much more with it.
I feel like I can invite clients in. I just professionalize it, right?
Yeah.
And I think I was very true, except we did face a lot of hurdles when the business started and when I tried to like make it legit. I mean, we had a pink logo to begin with, which was
but you were young.
Chain-esque, but it was very, very hard to win city clients or bigger clients because this is what I had. I was 23. I was a female. And female, it was very much a man's world because it was more like SEO and web servers, like it was all that, and we weren't playing in that space. It was a very masculine industry. So like, this 23-year-old blonde female from the Mornington Peninsula, like regional. Yeah. Like they were like, what's your credentials? Nothing. And so I'd be like, damn it, this is like so hard to break through almost because I'm like, people just don't take us seriously. So we continue to grow slowly, picking up small businesses, like local businesses definitely.
Portfolio.
Yeah, local businesses definitely trusted us because we became definitely like we were very well known on the peninsula. Like, oh my God, Chain Social is who you go to. So we would get lots of great local inquiries, but I started to feel a little bit stuck because I was like, this isn't what I see for the long term. Yeah. These brands don't have the budgets for the things I want to do.
Who was your brand that your big step?
So there's been a couple actually, and they've been for different reasons. So I remember when we were in our Mornington little office. It was like this tiny little, like it was honestly like 50 square meters, and I had my own office, but it was literally just like a closet. Like
you're like my office.
I know. And we actually got contacted by this girl named Kat, who runs her own strategic marketing consulting. And she's like, my best friend Amy owns a boutique in Hampton called Foray. And she's like, and it was like a really cool boutique. Like it had all the cool brands like Anine Bing and, all that, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, she needs support for like, I keep saying like, it's terrible to say it, but she needs support for her email marketing, her Facebook ads. Can you help?
Yeah.
I remember I was like, yes, I can absolutely help. Like, yes. I know. And so we pitched in and we won that. And Amy was the coolest chick that owned this boutique. Like I just gelled with her. It was like I was hanging out with a best friend.
Aww.
And I think it was that point that I was like, these are the clients that we need to attract because I'm having so much fun. She's getting great results.
And it's not a man. It wasn't like you didn't feel like it was a man's industry that you.
No, it was
respected you
great.
as a
So we did
female.
content for her and everything. And so then, of course, people saw we working with Fro Tribe, and so like lo and behold, other brands that were like
It
comparable
gave you,
came through. We had a case study.
You had a case study, but it also it made people trust you.
It did, because they're like, they do Fro Tribe.
Okay, all right, you've
Exactly.
been approved,
Exactly.
verified.
Yeah, literally.
Your first little verification.
Literally. And
you need that in business.
You
like
do.
You need to get that first little piece of verification of like, I'm good enough. That person said that I'm okay.
And do you know
trust
what?
me.
It's so funny because that like authority or verification, that kind of concept applies to so many of the brands we work with today. When I'm always saying, guys, you can't just have a beautiful brand and a good product. You need authority.
You need somebody to approve it.
Yeah, and so
to say I tried this and it was.
Yeah, so we will. I think I will talk to that because I think that's a really big piece that I drive with my clients. And it really, when you talk about a big moment, we were running a great agency. We had moved office. We'd moved to a big office in Mornington, the one we're at now, which is like 350 square meters. So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, we built a studio.
I'm very jealous of your studio space.
You can use it anytime.
I just want to go hang out there. Just look around all your little studio
We don't
spots.
use it enough. It's crazy. And like we had like 12 full-time employees by now. So we were like becoming like a legit business. And we were starting to be noticed by our Instagram for being very feminine, like because there was a lot of
very attractive to
masculine businesses, and people who just women or like startup businesses founded by women just were gravitating towards us, and it wasn't
that also grew in the last 5 years. Female founded businesses,
so much so, and it was great because I was like, this is the best because I am working with like-minded women. Like this is a vibe. So it was in 2000 and it would have been 18 or 19. I'm terrible at my timelines. Everyth's merged into one. I'm like, I think I started my business yesterday. There is a girl I know in business called Greta Van Riel or Van Rail. I can't pronounce her name quite properly. And sorry, my bracelet is just come off, so I better not forget to take that home with me. Ella, can you make a note of that? And she actually reached out to me, and I really looked up to her because she was local also from the peninsula, but she started like Skinny Me Tea and the Fifth Watches.
That's like the Greta.
Yeah,
like,
Greta.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
she's
her. Well, I don't know her, but I know her.
Yeah. So she reached out and was like, hi, Shelby, like, can we catch up? So we caught up, and she's like, I'd like to refer some of my startup businesses to you. And I was like, are you sure? That's amazing. What a great opportunity. And so it was really funny. She was like one of the students that have come out of my I think it was called Start and Scale, her course, or it might have been different back in the day. She's like, it's the brand's name's Bang & Body. I'd like to connect you. And I was like, okay, cool. This is great. Yeah. So she connected, and I mean, Priscilla's business had only just literally launched. Like when I was speaking to her, she'd been running, I think, her business for 4 or 5 weeks, right? It was so early on.
Her product had arrived, she
launched a website, and she's like, now what? So I spoke to Priscilla, and we got along really well. She was like my kind of person. We had so much in common. Yeah. And I also could see such a vision for her brand. Yeah. I was like, you're so clever, because this is probably 3 years ago now. It was like a first to market compared now. The skincare market is overly saturated, but back then it was a really good time.
Since COVID just
I know. And so we worked with Bang & Body in a holistic capacity. Yeah. Like I'm talking everything.
Yeah.
From Facebook ads, Google ads, website design, photo shoots, video shoots, email marketing, influencer support.
Took their brand
and like Priscilla was such a driver. Like she was a great person to work with, because if I said, this is how I've got to jump, she'd jump it. Like she was she trusted. And honestly, that's such a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I would say that was when people started to notice us, because like Bang & Body is huge. Priscilla's now in Forbes, and they're like, oh my gosh, who is she working with? And they'd find our website, like, we saw you were working with Bang & Body, or we saw you were working with Bondi Sands, because we'd also during this process been approached by, like, it was weird. 2019 must have been our year, because we just got randomly approached by Bondi Sands.
So it was the year that you were just like,
it was the year where I was like, hi.
It's happening.
Yeah, because it just kind of spiraled. And when Bondi Boost, I guess, saw we were working with X, they're like, great, we trust you. So we had all these incredible brands coming in for different services and different service offerings. But I think 2019 was a big year, because it was kind of pre-COVID. We just got our big office. We were ready to expand.
A lot was happening in the industry in 2019. There was a lot of launches, a lot of the noise was starting to come up.
And also Facebook ads and performance marketing was popping off. It was so profitable.
It was working really well.
Oh, it was so profitable. Like 10 ROAS, or return on investment, I should say, was normal. Like that was like, great. So it was a great time to be running a digital marketing agency.
Yes.
It was like the boom era. And we had a great time. And from, I guess, 2019 on to now, we have just had this snowball effect of industry recommendations.
Yep.
So we don't market our business. And in fact,
You have a long waiting list now.
We have a humongous waiting list. I call Chain like the underdog of the industry because you either don't know we exist, or you know we exist, and all you want to do is work with us.
Yeah.
Or you want to work with us as an employee. You want to work with us as a client. Because once people know we exist, they're like this. You feel like a unicorn of the industry. We've been called that. People also, some of our industry partners, like our clients, actually keep us a secret because like we don't want to give you to anyone else. We don't want anyone to use your skills. I'm like, I promise we would never cannibalize your market.
Because you've taken Chain, like you've been talking very much about the marketing, the Facebook and ads, but now you have a full service offering.
Full service. So it came very naturally because what happened, probably more so 2018, was that we realized very quickly how, especially back then, the content piece you put onto ads had to be professional. So it was professional video, professional photos, professional graphic design. You couldn't just be using what the client was supplying.
No.
And we started using contractors.
Yeah.
And that was great. But then our volume just got too much to have a contractor and we needed in-house resources. And so, we just slowly...
And that's a good turning point. So even for brands that have their own in-house staff now, so if you're a brand that is using contractors, always be wary that you'll have to wait because the contractors usually have a lot of other projects and stuff. So you're never you can't get stuff straight away.
Yeah.
So if you want stuff straight away, then think about bringing somebody in-house, even if it's part-time or a couple of hours a week. Because then you know that you're going to get your stuff. So there is that.
And exactly like you said, like our clients were also needing things fast, and we work so fast.
It's online, and
that's what I mean.
We work now. You need to be in the office.
Literally, we work too fast that our clients got used to that speed. And then when the email marketing graphics were slow, they're like, "What's going wrong?" I'm like,
the contractor has another job today.
So it was just too much for me. I was like a control freak. I was like, no, we have to have this in house. So we slowly just created a secondary team, which was the Chain Creative team, which was photographers, videographers, graphic designers. And it's the best thing we ever did because also I'm a very creative human being.
Yeah.
So having control over the creative was really exciting.
Because it can bring what you're trying to market. You don't have to go, I've got to market whatever you've given me from your designer.
And I would just, that's the thing I would be like, your content is terrible.
Yeah.
Like we're not using it. And the brand would be like, but we just had it professionally shot. I'm like, well, you need a refund. Similar to the website. We build websites and we design websites like you do. It's actually ironic that we came to you to get our website designed, but it's like having rose-colored glasses. We just would never, we couldn't do our own project. We couldn't see the vision, and you've done that brilliantly.
Yeah. I digress.
Launching soon. I know, I digress. Don't look at the current website. That is not a representation.
Not mine. We will soon.
So we did design of websites because brands would come to us. I'm like, your website's shocking. We can't actually.
Like, why would I send traffic there?
This is it, because I used to say, do you want us to send traffic to a brick wall? And they're like, what? I'm like,
how they buy? You need a new
they're
website.
not going to buy. It's just shocking. So it just slowly and organically happened. I followed the need, or I followed the desire or the demand. I didn't.
You knew the work was there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I don't think I ever would have dabbled into creative if I didn't have the demand because performance was like my channel, right? And like I'm a very big believer in like honing in your skill set and not trying to do everything.
Yeah, you weren't saying, performance is going great. Let's just randomly on the graphics and see.
Also, like reputation, quality. Like we're known for quality.
Yes.
We need to then have that exact quality replicated across all touch points. Yeah. So it's really hard for me. So we've got a beautiful team now of creatives. And we're very holistic in our approach, which is crazy because I think about when it was me.
But it is a one-stop shop.
Canva back in the day.
And it's really, there's always been a battle like this. I used to work at a place where you have the marketing team and the design team, and you kind of clash sometimes.
Yes.
Working together on the same.
Very complementary.
And then knowing that you can bring in a photographer or we're going to have a shoot on that day. The graphic designers are upstairs. Can we please check where that's going? And
It's so seamless. And we have actually had a lot of clients say to us like, oh my Lord, we didn't realize there was an agency that did everything but could do it at the level we did it. Because there's a lot of agencies.
Penny Social. So Penny Social now is...
Penny Social, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So similar to how performance marketing in 2018 needed polished video, polished photo, in 2019, starting 2020, polished content on ads down the drain. Because what happened is Facebook was getting complaints, Instagram was getting complaints that they're sponsored ads all the time. So they wanted sponsored ads not to feel like sponsored ads. And what doesn't feel like a sponsored ad is UGC or native content, like as if your friend had filmed something. So there was this huge movement for UGC and we needed it for ads. All the ads that were running with UGC from our clients were performing the best. So we started to use micro-influencers. We did big send-outs, but that was honestly such a hassle because
some of the content you get back is
sometimes we would never hear back. They just take a product and not send content because it was just like a gifted exchange through email, right? There wasn't like this big formal contract because micros are going to be like weird. Why send a formal contract for a $30 body scrub, right? 2, some of the content we were getting back was literally like a boomerang of someone doing this. And I'm like, that has nothing.
Yeah.
And thirdly, some of the content would be great, but it would be coming back 6 or 8 weeks later when the product's sold out. The product's sold out or the sale's over or, whatever our promotion was. So I, being the just impatient person I am, was like,
take it under control.
We need to control this. And the girl's like, what do you mean? I'm like, we need to start a UGC agency, as in like we need to reach out to all these content creators on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and ask them if they want to monetize getting gifted. Like if they want to receive a product and get paid to create content on it. And honestly, the response we had to our first outreach with no cred because we're like, hi, we're a UGC agency that just started. I mean, admittedly, we did have obviously Chain Social too. Yeah.
They knew you were it was connected to.
Correct.
Chain, so they would have been.
They were like, okay, this is like, they've got legit clients, it's not like random. But that was just nuts. We've now got over 2,000 content creators signed. Wow. Like they're legally signed with us, like through contracts. Like it's
like a giant black book. Not even a little black book.
Yeah. So we say to our clients now, like that come on for performance, like tell us who your customer is because we will go and find. We literally have 70-year-old ladies on our books.
Yeah.
We have like every piece of the planet sorted, as in like we've got different countries, different nationalities, different skin types because even some of our clients have products that are made for mature skin.
Yeah.
So we've got people that have mature skin that can do before and after content. Like it's brilliant. And it was just at the right time, at the right place type thing.
Have you probably would have thought about this, but would you do like a modeling agency now that because it's the same sort of thing. It's like modeling, then you got to go to the agency. Okay, so fees. You're like, I just want my own agency. I just want my own models that I can because you've got the influence.
Correct. Some of our content creators are actually models,
but they're signed with other agencies.
Correct. Yeah. And so
I feel like it's a missing piece to your puzzle there, Shelby.
It might be, but I feel like I'm a little bit tapped out right now, and I think just kind of focusing on the businesses, the Chain Creative, Chain Social, and Penny Social is really important because I just want to get them right and get them really solidified.
Yeah. A lot of very successful business owners they repetitively say that. It's I got it right, then I grew. Got it right, then I grew.
I'm definitely don't want to knock over the
you're not desperate for it yet. You're not sitting there going, I need models. It's
correct.
Working.
Correct.
It's kind of like photographers. Like you don't have your photographer sitting in the office 24/7, but you have your go-to and you're like, it's working. I don't need to employ a full-time photographer this year. When I do, I will.
Honestly, there's a running joke that my next business will be a florist because I am so interested in floristry. We also send flowers to every client for every milestone. New onboarding, great, here's some flowers. You got an incredible $1 million sale month, here's some flowers. Like we would spend on a good month where we're not being naughty and my accountant would be like, we'd spend like $6,000 on flowers in a month in gifting flowers. I'm like, I could just hire a full-time florist and do it myself. So there is a joke about that. So maybe that's the next
beautiful flowers. When you see, you'll be like that you actually could.
When you see Chain Floristry, then you're like, you heard it here first, you know?
Yeah, you actually really could. You're going to get inquiries from florists going, I will work you full time for half of that.
I know. And then even an events management arm too. So obviously stemming back to my core, growing up in events. I'd love
into that sometimes.
We do. Like when I think about pre-COVID when everything was popping off, I mean we ran multiple events for Bang on Body. We ran their Galentine's event at the Moonlight Cinemas. We ran their birthday event at the Royal Botanical Gardens. Love that. Because
do you guys organise around them or do you hire?
No, we organise them. Okay. Yeah. So, and admittedly, it was such a stretch at the time because we were using internal resources and our resources were already committed. But I'm the kind of person that's like, it's an amazing opportunity. Let's do it,
Come on.
And so I think if we were to do events now that COVID's over, or not over, but has subsided a little bit, we would build out an actual event management arm or events PR arm and complement that with actually like hire products, like have the chairs, have the tables and the bits and pieces, because that's the other drama, relying on people to deliver chairs. I mean, I've nearly lost all my hair stressing about when like Dan Event Hire hasn't rocked up and it's 10 minutes to the event. And I'm like, influencer's going to be here soon. Where the hell are our chairs?
And so it's connected to what you do. You know, you're launching businesses, you're launching campaigns.
So many.
You have a lot of events.
And we refer so many people to other PR agencies and so many people to event coordination. Even like there's a company that does like monogramming, and we sent so many clients there to get custom monogramming. I'm like, there's so many things I could do, but at the same time, I'm really happy with where I am.
Yeah. And you have a little girl as well. So you're married to
Josh,
Josh now, and you've had a little girl
she's 2 in Feb. So but she looks about 5 because she's so big. It's like my husband's tall and I'm really tall, obviously. So and she's great. But I think maybe the time during COVID where I kind of had to slow down, was forced to slow down. I fell pregnant, had a really bad pregnancy. Like I just was, my mum got cancer, my 2 grandparents died, all in 2020 and 2021. Like it was a really life-changing 2 years, but like kind of a crappy 2 years.
Yeah.
I just realised some things aren't as important as I thought they were before that period. And I realised like I need to be more grateful and enjoy the moment. Yeah. So rather than always be working towards the next thing, kind of be like, cool, this is really great right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel right now. I feel so much gratitude to what I have. Like sometimes I have to pinch myself. I'm like driving to my own company, my own office with these incredible people, with these
you started from a trestle table with your assistant.
Literally, like our client folio now, people, if they actually looked it up, would be like, what?
Yeah.
Like Jay's Health Vitamins, Michael Lasordo, Bondi Bruce, Bondi Sands, Banging Body. Like there's mermaid hair. Like it goes on.
I don't know how you keep it up.
It's crazy, right? And we have a wait list now though, because similar to kind of that mindset where I am really big on quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And
like you grew and you're like, yes.
We're great. Now we have an incredible group of clients who are so loyal to us. And we have an incredible team, but we have no more capacity. And people like, just hire more staff. Sometimes it's easier said than done, especially in our industry. You need loyalty, but you also need skill set. You also need personality type. You also need proof of work. Like I need to see people have done incredible work in the past, and they're not saying because anyone can say they can do Facebook ads. Yeah. They can. And that's why when we've had conversations with clients in the past, like, oh, this agency said they'll do it for $200. I'm like, cool, go to that agency then, because you're comparing an apple to an orange. Yeah. Don't even try and compare it.
And brands these days, they, just launch and like, okay, thank you. See you in 5 years when you need to refresh. Your clients are constant.
It's constant.
So it's not like
7 days a week.
Yeah.
Literally.
Exactly.
And honestly, I still like to be really involved and I still like to know what's going on with each client.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I owe it to them to be across it because my passion stems to the team.
Yeah.
And so we have, I think, 50 active retainer clients and that is more than enough.
Yeah. So I have a few questions. Want to start talking a little bit about knowledge in what you do.
Yeah,
so
I would love.
questions.
Yeah, I'm a can of worms on this. This is like my space.
So this is what you've all been waiting for. We've had Shelby's story of she's made it on her own from, your first client up, had some lovely jobs and, tiny bullying happening along the way. So now we're going to just kind of dive into all the knowledge that you have.
I love it.
For new startups, businesses that are struggling, that need some help growing. So if you're a startup, no one knows you. You pretty much have a tiny non-existing brand. So a beautiful brand, beautiful photography, everything is right. It looks exactly the same as the big brands and you launch online. What do you do? What should you expect? What do you do?
Okay, so this is
somebody with not a lot of budget.
Of course.
They've put everything into looking ready.
Yes.
And launching. What do they do?
Okay, so we actually get this a lot. And when these brands reach out to us, my first recommendation is that they're not ready for agency yet, and I'll speak to this. So when, like you just mentioned, you've got all your foundations in place, like we call it. You probably have a beautiful product or really great product, pending that the product has obviously a competitive advantage in market, but you're missing the authority, like the people don't know you exist, right?
Verification.
Similar to what we spoke about earlier,
Yeah.
you need authority and you need verification, especially in an online world, because people actually have to go, do I trust to buy from this website? Do I trust to buy from this brand? Why is this brand better than X brand? Who uses this brand? Like they need social proof. They need justification to why they purchase.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that we encourage startups or brands that are wanting to break through and don't have endless pockets to drive cold acquisition traffic is to hustle with influencers. And I don't mean like go and spend all your money on one paid post with a big influencer. I mean, try and reach out and create legitimate relationships. So seeding out to bigger influencers. So if you're a skincare brand, you might seed out to some key skincare editors or writers on Instagram and just pray they use the product and use the product and really like the product. Or you would be doing a micro gifting send out. So you find people who are in
like sample send out.
Sample send outs. A lot of our smaller brands that come to us, I say to them, do you have a sample size or do you have a mini? So if there's a skincare brand, for example, or any sort of brand, do you have minis that you could send? If it's like a fashion brand, do you have, a style, for example, that you've got more units of?
Yeah.
That you could send, or like a key style that you think is like your hero piece, because you want the influencer or the end user to be talking about the hero piece. Yeah. I genuinely believe that is the starting point because performance marketing 5 years ago, I would have said performance marketing is your starting point. But now the cost of acquiring any sort of traffic or customer on performance marketing is through the roof. So it's gone up like 250% in the last 2 years.
So now it's gone back to grassroots. Yeah.
And it has to be. And doing things like I've got a lot of clients. One of my clients is called Proud Puppy Clothing. Her name's Tara and she's amazing. And
I know them.
She's incredible, right? And her story's incredible. But she started from nothing and she would literally be packing and posting orders herself. She'd be on Instagram. She'd be doing the live. She'd be sending out to people. She'd be doing markets, like hustling. Another really great opportunity, but it's still a hard slog. Like there's no secret sauce. No. People always like, what's the first thing? What's the roadmap? It's honestly, there's no secret sauce. There are just some smarter channels to go down first. So TikTok is a great channel. And if we had this podcast 9 months ago, people listening right now would have had a better opportunity to break through on TikTok because TikTok is starting to plateau.
Yes.
Yep. It's starting
Instagram at the moment is, I feel like you only get followers if somebody knows you personally.
Yeah.
It's
flatlining. We call it. It's flatlining.
Yeah,
and
it's just not. I mean, some people are, but Instagram's changed.
Yeah.
And I'd love you to describe how, let's go through the apps, the social things. So what's happening on Instagram?
Okay, so Instagram. Okay, so
we are Friday the 25th of November 2022.
Because things change all the time.
In 3 weeks it might be done.
I know. So my head of social at Chain, her name's Jessie, and she actually used to be the head of social media at Mecca Cosmetica for 4 years. So she has a really, really great, extensive social career behind her. And we always talk about this, and we talk about this to clients, and we talk about this internally, that Instagram is actually a dying platform.
Yeah.
And it will be laid to rest in the next couple of years.
Okay. As in
it will go join.
What happened with Facebook?
No, it will go join MySpace. It will join.
MySpace is still alive?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
What am I missing?
You know what I mean? It will go
in the clouds with my dog.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's so sad. But yeah, it will.
That's so
It's a really great platform for maintaining existing communities.
So it's more like a portfolio.
Yes.
Now.
So we find that, we don't encourage brands not to post on there, but don't expect it to be a sales driver. Don't expect it to be your number one community driver because people don't engage as much.
Kind of like a mini website now.
For branding companies, for service-based businesses, it's really great because you can put quote tiles up and you can do you kind of almost like a blog, like what's happening in our agency and things. But
because it is still, if you say, what's Instagram, I'm going to check you out really quick. It's like, here's my quick overview.
I still look at people on Instagram, even if someone's applying to work at my company, I go stalk them on Instagram because I feel like Instagram is like a little mini folio of who you are,
who you want to be,
or who the brand
and
is.
You're like, okay, so that's who you are presenting yourself as, and as a brand, that's how you present yourself. And
correct.
I mean, you have to be on it, but
Whereas TikTok is an emerging platform. So, but it is still rocky waters because no one, like the algorithm for TikTok has changed massively.
Yes.
So in 2020,
massively boomed through
2020
COVID.
through COVID because people went to it for entertainment. It's short form videos. It hooked you in. It was funny. It was easy to follow you. And it's really, TikTok is much more of a discovery platform. So you'll probably know if you use TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you scroll through TikTok, you always find new people, right?
Yeah. You're
it's like, oh my God, so cool.
This is,
Instagram, you never do. It's always like going through people you know, right? So we say that TikTok is a better platform for new brands to be emerging onto.
For online brands.
Yeah. Oh, even in person. Like service business, any brand.
Okay.
Honestly, if you have a hospitality business.
Yeah.
Incredible. Do behind the scenes, introduce your chef, do some cooking classes, do like front of house videos, like introduce I think TikTok needs to be really driven by, there's this huge thing happening right now where they're saying that a few years ago, influencers were so desirable because they were so out of touch. Like, as what I mean by that is like
Kim Kardashian style.
Like you were like, oh my God, this person's the new handbag and they're going on this amazing brand trip and I just can't wait to see their content from this trip. Now, Instagrammers, those types of profiles have just gone to they're outnumbered. They're not engaging. So now people are actually turning to the relatable content. You'll
personality as well.
Yeah, you'll find people on TikTok are really thriving when they're just being themselves. And they're actually sometimes, like there's a huge movement at the moment for like gross girl talk. Have you heard of gross girl? So like Instagram used to be like the clean girl. So it's like the beautiful slick bun, like the beautiful life. And now it's gross girl, like lying in pajamas, doing work from bed, like being transparent to who you are.
Yeah.
So when I think about TikTok as a platform, it is much more about authenticity versus the content. So Instagram, like you said, it's very curated. You're still kind of putting out like a portfolio. Your brand. You can still
it's
uphold
making your brand desirable still and selling.
Yeah.
And then TikTokers, this is behind the scenes, we're packing boxes.
And TikTok is still like the reason why TikTok's a great place to start out of the two social platforms for a new brand. One, you don't need polished content. So you literally just need an iPhone. So there's none of this like cost kind of barrier.
That's good to know.
And two, the videos can be short form. They can be 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever you want it to be. And thirdly, it also is a discovery platform. So you are more likely to appear on like the For You page or come up through recommendations opposed to Instagram.
And do you do that by hashtagging?
So you can do hashtags. One thing that our head of social encourages a lot of our brands to do, or if we manage the brands internally, is actually go and interact on other profiles. So you often find people, and I don't know about yourself, but I always read the comments on videos. Like I'm always pausing something to see what the comments are. Like I'm either looking at the comments to see if the girl said where her top's from, or I'm looking at the comments to see what the tea is, like who's hating on who. Like the comments are like the interesting section. So if you as a brand are interacting with other creators, other brands on TikTok and you're commenting,
you keep seeing your brand
discoverability. People will be like, oh, who's this? Who's typing? What a beautiful video you've done. Who's typing that? And they click on the profile. Like, oh, this is a cool brand. So you can really kind of fast track your discoverability through commenting.
And what about sharing?
Yeah, sharing's good.
Does that pop up?
I think a lot of our head of social and our TikTok specialists always talk about, oh my God, what is it called when you, Ali, you might know the stitch, like you stitch a video as well. Yeah. TikTok is definitely a space that a year ago was like driven by like 11 to 17-year-olds and like 18 to 25. It was like there were key demos, whereas now the key demos are all like there are literally 55 plus on TikTok.
Everybody's on it.
But the actual users and the people that actually post on TikTok are still much more skewed to like Gen Z.
Yeah.
So for example, I'm a perfect example. I run a digital marketing agency. I live on TikTok from like a paid performance perspective, from like a marketing perspective, but I don't post on TikTok. I only view, I only watch, I only engage. I don't actually use my platform. From me personally, I need to clarify. My company has a TikTok. I don't manage it.
But you as Shelby, you'll be like, what am I? Like you don't personally.
I don't personally. And I think it's because I still find it overwhelming in my mix of things in my day-to-day. But then I don't have – everyone's different. Some people will use TikTok for the discoverability and it's for their business. For me, I don't need to be on TikTok, but I love to consume on TikTok, which is exactly the reason why I say to all my clients, your customers are on TikTok, whether they're posting or not, they're on TikTok. They're consuming
TikTok.
TikTok.
Some people just don't post. But
I shop on TikTok. I'm in the demo.
So you can shop on TikTok?
Yeah,
shop
well, in terms of like
shop on Facebook.
Yeah, like in terms you can go into people's bio or like I'll see like there's a lot of products that go viral on TikTok. I know we're jumping around, but
no, it's fine.
Random like cosmetic products like a lip gloss. If you can get your lip gloss for example, or your product, and this talks back to why we do micro seeding.
Yeah.
Right? If you can seed out to some key TikTok creators, they don't have to have huge following, 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers.
Somebody with a small TikTok
Someone could use it and it could make their lips look phenomenal. And then all of a sudden there's hundreds of comments saying, where'd you get the lip gloss from? And then the lip gloss sells out. Like this has happened at Mecca like a million times. There's a lip gloss called like the Hourglass Phantom Volumizer lip gloss. Okay. And it's been sold out genuinely at Mecca for like 6 months. Wow. Because it just went viral on TikTok. It just went viral on TikTok. And so we have a brand that we work with. I probably can't say what brand it is because I feel like they're probably not going to want to share things, but it's a fashion brand we work with and they're a startup. They only started in July this year. Mm-hmm. And their kind of strategy or their strategy mix has been they run their own organic TikTok. Yep. And then we support that from like a performance perspective. So we'll run Facebook ads to remarket traffic. Yep. We'll run TikTok ads. We'll run email marketing, right? Okay. And like lead gen. So what they do though on TikTok is through our advice, they've been seeding out product packs to fashion creators. So there's some fashion creators who have 5,000 followers who always do like get ready with me todays.
Oh, okay.
And so they'll seed out like their tops and their pants or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And for free, like as in like they don't.
You have to gift it.
They gift it, yep. So you've got to give the product, got to be willing. That's why it's really important that you feel aligned with who you're sending it out to. And so then these creators on TikTok though don't have to tag who the brand is. Like it's not like Instagram where it's like, you know, wearing blah blah the label today.
Yeah.
Instead,
it's more like, who are you wearing?
Well, instead, like you'll see these girls will post a full outfit and be like, this is my outfit today. So say I was wearing this and then people will comment and be like, where's the top from? And so then I'll comment like it's from XYZ. This top is actually from Van Roy. So say I would type it's from Van Roy. And then what happens after this is that everyone who reads the comments goes, I'm going to shop that Van Roy top. Yeah. It's organic. It feels so organic. There's none of this paid partnership. Like it's
like walking into having a lunch or walking in and
being like, where's your pants from?
Like, I love your outfit. Where's it from?
Correct.
So why do you say TikTok's plateauing?
There's more users on the platform now. So the platform, don't quote me on this number because I haven't like checked the number in a few months, and this is definitely like not my personal specialty in the business, but I hear about it all the time. There was like 500 million users on TikTok in 2020, and there's 1.5 billion users now in 2022. So the platform has tripled.
Wow.
And so, as you can imagine, discoverability goes down because it's competition. You're competing against it, right? And also, the platform 2 years ago, 3 years ago was in its infancy, and now it's like everything has a life cycle. Everything has a life cycle. So it's just now starting to plateau.
Yeah.
It does not mean that you can't be discovered. I mean, we work with an Apple Watch brand. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a mouthful. And we got engaged to run their TikTok organic, nothing else, through our social team. And like our first video we posted for them organically got like 2 million views.
Wow.
2 million views. It was literally a video on like how to tell what percentage you're charging of your Apple Watches at, like the hack to like which button to touch. Yeah. And it got 2 million views organically. Okay. And this brand was like, oh my God. But then videos that follow it might only have 5,000 views. So I think also you don't want to set yourself up for unrealistic expectations. That if you don't break through and you don't go viral straight away, that you've got to give up on the platform, because any of my clients will say that it's just consistency.
You never know when you're going to go viral.
It's consistency.
You will post that one video.
The other reason why I really do like TikTok as like a starting point, really for any brand to utilize, is that TikTok content or the style of content on TikTok now works best in Facebook ads. So we're running Facebook ads for clients. The only content we're using, unless it's like a really high-end premium brand, is their TikTok content.
Okay.
So TikTok.
So you can cross over.
You're massive cross-pollination. Like years ago, that would be like the death of the industry. Like how dare you reuse content? But now
it's what has to
and
be.
do you know why it is though? Because more people in Australia now browse TikTok content. So our like whole entire consumer audience in Australia is so used to watching TikTok content that any other style of content now is scroll past.
Go.
So there is a really big benefit to small business, medium business, large business. Like even our biggest clients, they use their TikTok content on their Facebook ads because it performs the best.
It's the most organic. You're also on TikTok. I'm going to follow you on TikTok.
But even just the style. So it could be, an example might be like if it was a fashion brand, it could literally be like just like get ready with me, getting styled in a mirror, and people are like, oh, I like that outfit, I'm going to swipe up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like a paid ad.
Yeah.
So TikTok provides a lot of opportunity for brands in that they put the effort in, they can then use the content for multiple purposes, right? Like Instagram's great, but if you do a beautiful curated Instagram feed, that's all you've got from it. You can't use that content anywhere else. Can't use those graphic tiles, can't use those photos. They're just, unless you use them on your website. But then you're just going to have timeout for creative timeout where customers like, cool, you've used the exact same stuff on your Instagram as your website, which is one of my biggest recommendations is to make sure we're diversifying our storytelling because people get bored or think you're such a small brand that you just can't actually
redoing everything.
Like there's nothing worse than using all your beautiful website content in your Instagram feed. It's actually
so if you do a beautiful photo shoot and you stream it through your website, don't use that on your Instagram.
No, I know.
What about clients that have like spent all of their money on a beautiful photo shoot and that's all they have though? What do they do in the Instagram?
So for Instagram, they could this is the hardest part, right? Yeah. And I'm always like, this is going to sound so terrible. But
do you like at a photo shoot, you do a section for your website and then another section for your Instagram and say, do not use these.
That's a great idea. Practically, you're just wanting because again, you don't want creative fatigue, right? So you don't want customers to feel like they've seen, let's say, a photo of a dress on your Instagram and it's the exact same photo of the dress on the website. It's creative fatigue.
Okay. So it's not like confirmation and the part of the journey to go, I like that dress, you go to the website, oh, there's that dress again, click into it. And
so we really do encourage like our clients where possible to keep the editorial beautiful imagery to their website, to their printed collateral, to like if they do billboards, like big even Pinterest ads, etc. But Instagram, we try and encourage the use of more lo-fi content.
Okay, so not as polished on Instagram.
Not as polished. It's still, like lo-fi is still beautiful. Like if you look at Mecca's Instagram, it's a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's not their big editorial shoots once a year.
No, that's right.
Even there's a really great fashion brand in Melbourne, and I don't even know how to pronounce it, but like Henny or by Nadia Bartel.
Yeah.
She does a really great job. So they do beautiful, beautiful, big, bold photo shoots like for their each collection. But you'll only see them like maybe use 3 images and that's it. Then they move into like lo-fi content, street style content, behind the scenes content, Nadia styling things content. I think it just keeps everything interesting and doesn't look – people don't get bored. And also let's not forget the fact that sometimes it can take up to 11 touch points to convert a customer. That's actually like proven in e-commerce land, 11 touch points, right? So one touch point might be seeing a photo on Instagram.
Yep.
If they then see it, they then go to your website and see the exact same photo. That touch point is not going to have the same uplift as if they saw a photo of one of their favorite influencers wearing it, or they saw another person, like maybe a UGC wearing the product or using the product, or, this is hard because we're right now talking about a lot of industries, and my advice would differ slightly per industry because obviously fashion is so different to beauty, and beauty is so different to lifestyle. I mean, lifestyle,
but it's seeing
TGA.
It's seeing the same product in different scenes. So like if I was wearing this necklace, so I'll wear it in the photo shoot, which will be like a particular way.
It's a beautiful necklace actually, but that's like
by Natasha Wilton. She was on a podcast as well.
Stunning. But that would be like,
this would be seen like laying on the jewelry table.
Absolutely.
And then it'd be on an influencer at a party. And
correct. Whereas on the website it might be just eComm model shots.
Yeah. I'll put it away now.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
By Natasha Wilton.
I know. I'm like, I need to actually.
My darling friend.
I need to put that down and be like, shopping after this. And so I think, look, it does change for every industry. I mean, look, lifestyle industries like health and some cosmeceuticals now have huge TGA guidelines.
Okay.
So like some of our clients who sell sunscreen, who sell vitamins, who sell actual cosmeceutical skincare that is like TGA approved.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content they can't now use online.
So they can't have an influencer putting sunscreen on because it's...
No. Unless the influencer literally was like, you should apply sunscreen twice a day. You follow information as directed, when like everyone's like, no one's going to follow that content. No. So my recommendation does change per industry, but at an overall level, the kind of key component of Instagram versus TikToks, or the success metrics, TikTok is like your behind the scenes look at the business. Yeah. It's the real raw,
it's a real you.
Unfiltered, like, for example, in my business, if I was to run my own TikTok, I would just do like day in the life, come along, and you would see me being a mum all the way through to being in meetings and podcasts, and you would see me cooking spaghetti bolognese in my big baggy T-shirt, and you would see me dressed up as like
refuses to eat,
literally. And then, but then on Instagram, you would see me at work in beautiful photo shoots, or like all of the work I've done for clients. Like, so it's just choosing the right platform. It's really hard.
It evokes trust. It not evokes trust, but it helps create trust. So anything that's too perfect is a little bit, you kind of don't trust it.
Yeah,
You're like,
for sure.
it's impossible to be.
And people want to relate
perfect.
to
They
people.
wanna relate. And a brand is like a person. So you need to relate to
I'm
the
so
brand.
glad you said this, because one of the things that's why TikTok has ended up being so big is because brands now feel like people.
Yeah.
Because there's always normally one or two faces running the TikTok, and you start to associate the brand to that person.
Yeah.
And that is so beneficial because people have created a relationship with you and your brand before they've even bought something or met you. I cannot tell you the amount of times people have reached out to Penny Social or Chain Social, just being like, we saw you on TikTok. And they already feel like, they're like, we saw you do this, we saw you do this.
Friends.
Yeah, we want to speak to the girl that was on your TikTok. Like it's crazy. And I also would say to people, like, another reason why TikTok is such a great platform is because the average engagement rate on TikTok is around 35%.
It's a lot higher. Yeah.
Instagram last month was like 1.2%. So like,
what has happened with Instagram that it's dropped? Like,
people have left. It's like mass.
Yeah.
Think about yourself also. A year ago, I would spend more time on Instagram than I would TikTok. And now I spend my last 30 minutes of my day on TikTok.
Yeah. I'm about a year behind you on that. I'm like just getting on the TikTok.
But that's okay.
When I first started Truth on a Pedestal, I remember being like, TikTok's mystery. I'm not on it. Now I'm on it. So that's
there you go. And like for you though, for your brand, you would do like behind the scenes designing and coming to meetings.
That's so boring. It's me sitting at a computer.
But people would love that. And like new brands looking for designers or like startup graphic designers. Like, again, all the advice has to come down to like what the goal is. So kind of come back to your first question, to a new brand starting out, no budget, no money. TikTok would be a great place because they could run it themselves, and they could seed out to Instagram and TikTok influencers to pray they just create content. And it does happen. There are a lot of creators who love to receive gifts and they'll do content. And
creators that are wanting to be big influencers, so they like do it.
And also I always come back to the fact that a business is a lifelong journey.
Yes.
And there is no business that I've ever worked with, and I've worked with monster businesses with humongous turnover. There's no business I've worked with that has got to like, the first 12 months and be like, great, I spent the money, now it's going to flourish forever. They are constantly reinvesting. They are constantly having to change the wheel.
Budget and spend it.
Yeah, and honestly, it's if you don't have a budget to launch your business and you don't have connections that can help leverage you are going to have to do it the traditional way like everyone else and start somewhere and take it slow, because you can only grow as far as your budget goes or as far as your connections go.
Yeah.
And I say that not to be unmotivating, but hopefully to create a realistic expectation in the e-commerce market. In e-commerce, they're actually estimating that in 2023 e-commerce will the spend in e-commerce will be down by 12%. As consumers swap to what they call social e-commerce, which I think is a really interesting topic to talk about.
Yes, let's talk about that.
So social e-commerce is practically where customers will use TikTok as a really great example, or Instagram. They'll see like a influencer, let's say, talking about a lip gloss, and then they'll go physically in store to Mecca or physically in store to the store to test it, try and buy it, right? Mm-hmm. Social e-commerce is kind of blending the land of online marketing but not seeing the conversion on online marketing. And so for online brands that only have online stores and don't have physical presence or like a wholesale distribution network, they're going to be up against social e-commerce.
Okay.
Which is
is that because people have probably purchased so many products that it comes, you're like,
It's driven by a variety of things. So a lot of the research and the kind of surveys that are coming back is, one, people are sick of our postal network. They're sick of paying for postage or getting free postage that takes like 10 days to come. Yeah. Still a lot of stores don't offer free postage.
Yeah.
If you do not offer free shipping, 79% of customers in Australia who have used Australia Post Network before, so they won't shop with your brand.
So is it better to increase your price and have free shipping?
All the time. So the fashion brand that started with us in July, she met with us earlier and she was telling me, her margins, and I said to her, where's your free shipping? She's like, I haven't factored in. I'm going to do this price plus free shipping. I said, no, you're going to do this price inclusive free shipping. Yeah, I said, because the customer, it's a roadblock. Yeah, they get to cart. They're like, I don't want to pay $10 for shipping.
Yeah.
I've already paying X. I don't want to pay that, even though the brand.
It blocks me a lot. I'm like, I came here to buy this and I can't be bothered.
So shipping is blocking social e-commerce. Pardon me. Shipping is a huge factor for a lot of the emergence of social e-commerce. Mm-hmm. In addition to other things, people now want to try before they buy.
Yes, and I like to go out. We're in this cycle of stay home, shop at home, and now just
Correct.
get me out of the house.
Get me out of the house. And also, I think this is another thing. A lot of stores offer refunds, which is great. Like online stores offer refunds, right? Or exchanges.
To get to the post office.
But correct. Everyone is time poor and you're holding my money until I get it back to you. So like I have to get the product, try it on. If it doesn't suit and I've spent a couple $100, I've then got to go to the post office, which has cost me my time.
Yep.
I've then got to buy a return bag, write it out, post it to you, and then I've got to wait sometimes 10 to 15 business days to get my money back.
And hoping it gets to you, so I give my money back.
Whereas social e-commerce, like brands, a perfect example of brands that have both online and in-store, where they give you the ability, like if you get it online, doesn't fit, you can just drop it back in store.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are going to be thriving. And it's really like, it's ironic because in 2020, you would have thought e-commerce is the way of the future and the only way of the future. But I think what's happened, right? We've had this huge boom of e-commerce. It's new and exciting. It's like, wow, I don't have to leave my home.
Yeah.
Right. When something's new, it's always going to have a boom, right? It's new and exciting. And so like as e-commerce went up, retail went down. Like physical retail, and everyone's like, oh, better get rid of my physical retail store. Like this is disgusting. I've got rent, all this kind of stuff. So this is what it looked like. And then during COVID, this is what it looks like. Yeah. But now it's about to do this. Okay. And it's about to be on par. They estimate that the social e-commerce spend in Australia for 2023 will be $1.2 trillion. So really, as in like the comparative is that e-commerce will drop by around 12%.
Yeah.
And there'll be more spent in brick and mortar. But the brick and mortar is not being driven by the fact it's in Chadstone Shopping Centre. Because 5 years ago, you'd go shopping and you'd shop at the shops that are at Chadstone because it's at Chadstone. Or you got the shops at, what's that, Bridge Road in Richmond because it's Bridge Road Richmond or Chapel Street.
Up and down Chapel Street.
Correct.
Yeah,
whereas now people are seeing the product online through whether it's an influencer, through paid performance advertising, and then purchasing in store.
So now as a product and as a brand, it's probably more important to get into stores. Even if it's like, give me this tiny shelf space, get a stockist list online.
Honestly. And it's
get it in stores.
It's just good to, even if it's like a short-term solution. It's like some of our clients that are breaking into the cosmetic industry are signing deals with big distribution brands, so like like Mecca's or Sephora's, etc. And they're just like, this is a 2-year plan, so that we can really seem larger. We can see where we've got more authority. Pardon me. Our clients, our customers have the ability to go in and try the product, and in a couple of years' time, we'll see where we're at, and we might make our own store, or we might, like it's just.
How about even getting into the small mom and pop stores?
Incredible. Little local boutiques. Incredible. Just making yourself accessible.
Yeah, because those you can walk in, you can introduce yourself, and be like, this is my product.
Correct.
Like,
absolutely.
Give me a box on the shelf.
And you will find as well, it's really crazy. A lot of our clients that start out and then work with us on their launch plan and might be doing a lot of performance marketing. Yeah. They actually start getting approached by big brands and being like, we want to stock you, because they're seeing the effort the brand's putting into marketing themselves online. Okay. So it's kind of like a catch-22. I mean, it's kind of like a positive catch-22, as in like you invest in your brand and then others see that you're investing, so they want to jump on board to the success.
Yeah, you're not just a hobby brand. You're
a legit brand that people want. This demand. And like one of our clients is Jem, as you know. Yeah. And for her, she obviously has an online store and we drive traffic to the online store, but the brand building we've been doing this last 12 months has opened up so many wholesale doors.
Yes, and you can walk into a lot of shops now and buy the product.
But it's incredible, and she continues to drive demand for the product. Yeah. So social e-commerce, and we speak about it all the time. She's like, I know my customers are seeing online, but they want
to just walk in store and pick it up.
The product is $12 to $15. They don't want to pay shipping, and it's not at the brand's detriment for not like it's not always easy for the brands to provide free shipping online because it's out of leading into their margins. Yeah. So being able to say like, you can go in store and buy it.
Yeah. And so any store everywhere is accessible.
Yeah. And so a lot of our clients are finding that their performance investment isn't only driving their online store anymore. It's driving more people into their physical store or driving people into their wholesalers. So their wholesalers are making larger orders. So it's just building their brand overarching. Again, I always come back to this. It depends on what you just want to get out of your brand. Yeah. It really does. And if you are, there's two paths in a brand, especially a direct-to-consumer brand or a brand that is for people, right? Yeah. Is you can either go down the bulk volume route and you're a volume-based business. Yeah. Volume-based business would be a business that wants to be stocked and wants mass distribution. So wants to move thousands of units a week. So whether that's fashion, beauty, oral care, whatever. Yeah. Or you're a boutique margin-driven business. And then you can take it slower because you only need to sell a few units to feel success. And look, some of my clients want to be $500 million brands.
Yeah.
And others just want to make a really, really nice living to keep them and their family happy and go on nice holidays.
Yeah.
So it really does depend
on what kind of business you want to build.
And what kind of person you are. Because running a business.
I have clients who say, I just want a business with my brand that just has enough money. And that is the.
Yeah. It's a real thing. It's a passion because at the end of the day, you have to have whatever's driving either decision will be passion, right? And this is going to sound so stupid and corny, but passion is the only thing that will actually get you out of bed when your business is in the negative.
Yeah.
And it will actually get you hustling. If you don't have a passion or if you're following the wrong path, it's not going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
All of the brands that have been with us that are now incredibly successful, their founders are so passionate.
Yeah. They live and breathe their brand.
They live and breathe it. They know they've got an incredible product. They're not – we have this thing internally, and this is not to say that Pink Clay Mask brand is a bad brand, but I'm like, we're not working with another pink bloody clay mask brand because people are now just making pink clay mask brand because they're seeing those really big players like the Sand and Sky, the Alia Skin killing it, and they think they can just make a pink clay mask and be rich, like it's they get rich quick fix. It doesn't work like that. And so I always know those brands are just not they're not right for us.
Yeah.
They don't have enough innovation. They don't have enough passion.
Yeah.
They're not going to be successful. I honestly can tell when a brand's going to be successful.
You don't say, oh, you've made a brand, great, it works. And then they're like, oh, I'll sit there, it'll happen. It's like, you have to be able to be obsessed with it.
Think about the customer too. Why would the customer shop with you?
Yeah.
They can go shop with the other two biggest players in the market who have now established themselves. The only way you can compete with that is with budget because there's no difference in your product. Yeah. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
I actually had a really interesting call just yesterday with a really big new company and they're actually owned by one of Australia's largest retail houses. So like it's got huge backing.
Yeah.
And I went on the call because they were putting out for tender and they reached out to us and I wanted to ask some more questions before I considered whether we would introduce ourselves. And I got the tender and I read through it and I was like, this brand is not going to succeed. This brand is, in my eyes, doesn't solve a customer problem in the market.
Yeah.
Why is someone
there? It's doing all the right things.
Well, they were saying to me their kind of key selling point or their key competitive advantage is that it's sustainable, or that
a lot of brands are sustainable.
Well, to be sustainable is expected now. That's not a competitive advantage. It's like in the skincare industry. I expect all my skincare to be vegan, cruelty-free, organic, free from freaking harsh chemicals. That's not a competitive advantage anymore. Maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So with this client, they said they were sustainable. And I was like, okay, is it some sort of crazy sustainability? But no, it's normal. It's like a breakdown box. I'm like, everyone is.
So everyone is,
So we went through all these things and I was like, still confused. Like we value individuality, but I'm like, how am I going to market this product? And it was at that point, so we declined to tender for it because
it's like put together by mail.
No, and honestly, this brand is launching with such big budgets and huge distribution, but I was like, it's not for me because I personally cannot see the point. I can't see the point of difference. It's not like it's reinventing the wheel. It's just the existing of what's on the market for the same price but with a different logo. And customers it's not going to succeed.
Yeah. And it has to be a reason behind your brand. So like a tanning product. There are so many tanning products there that work.
Can I just say something on tanning products? So if anyone that's listening to this is a tanning product and wants a little heads up, someone needs to create because no one's done this, and I have tanning clients and no one's doing this, someone needs to create a mini tan that you can take on holidays that has like 2 or 3 applications in it. That's all. Like a little mini tan, mini applicator, right? Because you don't want to lug around your big foam foam because it always spills in your luggage. Yeah. Imagine like a little mini in a recyclable package.
Just pop it in there.
It would do so well. Yeah. It would do so well through distribution. It would do so well online. So I'm just going to throw that in there.
Yeah. I do have a client that's just launched a tan brand that
Can you please tell them to do minis, please?
I will. I absolutely love their tan actually, and they're very tiny, very new, very unknown. But I'm like, everyone needs to know this brand. Like it actually works.
What's their point of difference? I'd love to know.
It's express. So you put it on, get your makeup done, do your things, do your hair and makeup, and then you just like dribble it off. It's just this deep. But I don't do a deep tan, and it's just like cracks away at my extreme whiteness. But it's not orange. Yes. It's like deep. And
so it's a nice color. So the color would be the competitive advantage.
And I don't even notice it fading off. don't
Yeah, so
even
that's
notice
great.
it.
That's great. So
it's
where's the
bod
natural?
base. I love bod base. They're tiny. They're brand new.
That's good though. We'll tell them to get minis.
They have one thing, but I've tried a few, but they're pumps about this big.
I'm talking like I want to see like, you
Yeah,
know, when
but
we go
they
into
could totally
Chemist
go
Warehouse and you see like they've got like the little mini toothpaste.
I know, yeah.
That
yeah,
size.
Or Mecca when you're like, I want to try all the things in mini.
Little
please.
mini. But also imagine, like this is why I always encourage.
But also you want to try a tan brand once.
Correct. This is why I tell all my clients, I tell them.
buy it, not invest in this whole thing and then you try, you're like, that did not work.
Adore
with my
Beauty
skin.
does a really great thing because in the skincare beauty realm, you need to do sampling. If you don't do sampling, why would someone buy and try your product?
It's because there's so many beauty products out there.
Yeah, there's no reason.
You need to sample. You need to make sure you don't.
And consumers are brand loyal, may I add as well. Like with skincare in Australia, people have actually said they will continue using a product if it isn't causing a rash on their face.
Yeah, or if they see a difference. I went into one of these product places and they did a test on my hand.
Yeah.
They do. And it was amazing. And I was like, this is amazing. I want to try it on my face. Can I have a test? We don't do tests. And they told me the price of the bottle.
You're like, I'm not going to do that.
I am not going to invest. Like it was astronomical price, which I would have purchased if the tester worked as well as it did on my hand. I was like, you just lost me.
Exactly.
Could have been a lifelong client.
Exactly. So one of the things one of the things some of our brands are doing, which would help new brands now if you've got testers or minis or something, especially in the makeup or beauty space, is to run a campaign through paid ads where it's like, get the tester or get the mini for free, just pay shipping.
Miss Health just did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you run that so that people try the product and then you remarket them through an email.
Yeah.
You know, let's say the product, will take 3 weeks to use through. You remarket through an email to say, hey, we know you obviously got our free sample. How are you liking it? If you've got any questions.
Yeah.
If not, come and buy it here. Once they've bought it a second time, then you remarket to them to go onto subscription.
Yeah.
Beauty brands need to be on subscription. And I know this is like off the tangent, but I could talk for hours. They're saying by 2024 that 75% of beauty brands will need to be on subscription to survive through online.
Because you get distracted by
You get distracted.
Yeah, your bottle runs out.
Whereas if it arrives on subscription, okay, why don't you cancel your Netflix? Sometimes you won't use it all the time. You don't think about it. It just comes through and you're like, oh, whatever. It's come through. I've got it now.
I probably watch like an hour of Netflix a month, yet it's still...
It's on subscription.
On subscription. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of...
It's great for retention for big corporations too, is to have retention or recurring revenue.
Yeah.
To know that every 3 months or every month you're going to have an X revenue come through. It's very settling.
There's a lot of products that can definitely work on subscription.
Oh, and they're not yet.
They're not. Even fashion. So underwear and socks.
Underwear should be because there's data on a lot of, and even pillowcases.
Yes, pillowcases should be on subscription. So subscriptions, mini samples, TikTok,
subscription. Like honestly, if you're a brand and if your product is replenishable, you should be on subscription. Yeah. I think we should talk about as well products that aren't replenishable because I think a lot of people launch products and go like, I've got this, I want to make $100,000 a month, $200,000 a month, and I say, but you're going to have to acquire new customers every month because people only buy a product once a year or once every 2 years or once maybe forever because like let's say a hot tool, like a heating tool, like a hairdryer, like
that's years.
Yeah. So what do you do, right? So with these types of brands, they have to be really realistic about what their acquisition strategy is because think about it, right? If you don't have the ability to have organic replenish or retention revenue coming in every month, you are buying your customers every month.
Constantly buying new customers,
So you've just got to come to terms with what return you're willing to accept and what return will actually be available online because performance marketing is not a dangled carrot anymore. It is hard. Most of our clients will average around like a 2 to 3 return and they're happy with that, but they're getting that at volume, at scale, which is why they work with us. They might some of our clients spend $1 million a month on paid marketing.
Wow.
Yeah. We manage I think it was last.
And that just lets them break through the noise. So that was one
They're
of the
buying your
questions.
customers. They're buying your competitors. They're buying your products. The customers. They're buying the customers. My God. Last year we managed $50 million of Facebook and Google spend.
Yeah.
And just with our clients that we have on our agency, and you can work out that they're just buying the market. That's why when you say about these new brands, they're going to be very strategic about how they break through because if they don't have a clear point of difference, it's very hard. It's budget that's the point of difference.
So to break through the noise, there's so much noise. It's just white noise now. Yep. You either have to outbuy everyone.
Yep.
Or
that is literally we have to like
if you have a product that
is for the mass, you have to buy your customer.
If we'll stick like tanning, because we're on that lovely topic.
Yep.
If it's a tanning product, there's so many out there.
You have to buy a product.
Buy.
That's why you have to be offering your product for free.
Yeah.
So people try and go, actually, I prefer this to the other brand. I'm going to buy this.
But if it's a product that is new and different, like when Slick Stick Still first came out, it was new. So it was
correct.
Like, what? But now there's probably like a million. Or the eyelash serum that grow your eyelashes.
Correct.
So it's like was new. So if you don't have a brand new product, you have to outbuy the market.
Or
you don't have the money to outbuy the market.
Have NPD. You have to have a product that changes the game. I saw recently this incredible, I forgot what the brand was called, but I'm sure it'll appear again. This was only like my second interaction with the brand when we talk about touch points.
Yeah.
And it's this silk veil you put over your face for when you put your clothes on so that you don't get tan or makeup on your white T-shirts, white shirts, etc.
Those are always in change rooms.
But no, it's like this. It's like this beautiful silk organza. Like it literally looks stunning, and it won't rub any makeup off your face. Like it's amazing. And I saw this, and I was like, "That's smart." But that's new innovation. And like when
it's old school but new school.
Correct. So you found an old product but reinvented it.
Forgotten.
Yeah, reinvented it.
Yeah, because
there's so many products that need to be reinvented.
Yeah, because it's a question of, and it's it sounds so. Like there's so much more serious stuff in life, but like, do you get dressed and then do your makeup, or do you do your makeup and hair and then get dressed?
I do my makeup, my hair, then get dressed.
And
I need my veil,
and then you suddenly put a white shirt on. You're like,
or you see, and you're like really trying. You're pulling your top like this to make sure your face doesn't run across it. Yeah,
like real life problems, woman. Okay, it's real life.
Yeah.
Problems.
So honestly, I feel like product innovation has to be a big driver. That's how we choose if we'll align with a client, to be honest. It's based on there's really only a handful of metrics or key kind of considerations. One, if we like the product and we genuinely believe the product has a place in market. So we started working with Naked Sundays, which was like an SPF spray when they first launched. And I was like, this is brilliant because no one else is doing this. That will do well. That's convenient for someone that wears makeup. Spritz, great.
Yep.
Whereas, like, if a brand came to with just another normal sunblock that you just roll on your face, I'm like, no. Unless they've got, so the next consideration would be like, okay, cool, your branding's great, your product is the same as what's on the market. So the only way we can actually feel confident in making really great results for you is your budget. What's your budget? And they say we have a $2,000 budget. I say we can't help you. We're not the agency for you.
Yeah,
and in fact, actually, no agency is for you.
Yeah.
And some agencies are too afraid to say that. They're afraid to say no. Or like we used to have someone work for us in our agency that had been at another agency, and she came in and was asking like how we qualify our leads or qualify people into a wait list. And I spoke to her saying like we have to either use, shop or love the product. Like I have to actually want to use the product or shop it already. Like half my clients, like Alifex, the tan, is in my cupboard. Gems, my cupboard. Yeah. Like I use my clients. The underwear.
Banging bodies and
everything's there, right? Even the fashion brands like Michael Assorto in my cupboard. Yeah. So it's really good. Now I've lost my train of thought.
No, I'm the same. I'm
like, she was
pretty much use all of my clients' brands.
Oh, yes. So we have to use, shop, or love. But she was saying at their agency that she was at, the only consideration is can they afford our retainer fees? If someone can afford their retainer fees, they don't even care if they don't like the product or that they're not going to see a result. And that's what happens in agencies. So that's why I kind of am a bit of an underdog and don't like to market and don't like to be known. I like a lot of our work comes from referral because people go, these guys are great.
Yeah.
They're very passionate. It's because also I'm very transparent and people don't like that sometimes. They think it sometimes comes across as like negativity, and I promise it's not. It's just calling a spade a spade. I have so much industry insight. I have so much industry. Like I know the revenue, I know the marketing strategy, I know everything of some of the biggest brands in the country.
Yeah.
I have all this here. And so when I say to you, I don't think that's going to work, it's not me being personally like biased. It's me being professionally,
it's like
professional recommendation. And branding is the most important starting like stepstone.
I'm glad you said that because
it is. Yeah. When clients come to us with shocking branding but cool product, I say, go back and come back when you're ready.
Yeah.
Or let us redo it. And they say, no, we've just spent 10 grand. I say, I don't care. It's not ready.
Yeah.
And they've gone to the wrong person. They haven't relived a vision, you know. It really sucks actually.
Yeah. Because branding, it's what people see, and branding's not just what they see, but it's what they hear. It's the tone of voice. It's the feelings they get. So I constantly go on about feelings. Like, what does your brand feel?
Well, honestly, if I said to you right now and to anyone that maybe listens to this, I said to you, what car do you think of if I say red sports car or red fast car? What car do you think of?
I don't know why I say Corvette.
I'm going to say a Ferrari.
Oh, see, I don't know anything about cars.
Okay, but like a red fast car is a Ferrari.
Yeah, okay.
And every time I walk into a room and use that, people go Ferrari. And that's your Evoke set. And that they have worked so hard on their branding to make sure that you think they are a luxury red fast car premium. Like they're their brand isn't just the logo, because I probably couldn't even draw the logo for you. But you know they exist. You know they exist. You know they're there. You know they're a luxurious premium brand. That's branding. Branding isn't just, like you said, it's not just the icon. It's how you speak. It's also your product's point of difference or your product's mission or purpose.
Yeah.
So like, for example, a tanning brand, that's what I said to you before. What's this new brand's kind of point of difference? Because for me, I think you have to reinvent tanning now. People need to bring out like freaking tanning soap where you literally soap your body in the shower and it turns into tan.
Tanning water.
Yeah, but like, do you know what I mean? Like you need to be doing innovation. And if you're not doing innovation, you're kind of falling behind because
they've got, I love the shampoo and conditioner soap bars because it's like no waste.
Correct.
Really easy to ship.
Correct.
If they just make some really nice holding things in my shower, that would be great.
Yes.
Like labels. Yes. So I remember. And then I mean, they're a bit scary. That I was doing.
There's a brand we've worked with called Conserving Beauty that's, my knee. Sorry, I'm breaking the table on my knee at the same time. They're in Mecca and they're waterless beauty. So she decided
I have the Conserving Beauty shampoo.
Yeah. She decided
in the bar, in the soap bar?
No, she's got like facial stuff, but
else
she decided to be a waterless beauty brand and to be the most sustainable brand, like beauty brand in Australia. So like, for example, her makeup wipes, you run them under water and they dissolve.
Wow.
So there's no makeup wipe that goes in the bin anymore.
Yeah.
And so people buy now, her brand is driven by sustainability. So why are people buying her makeup wipes, which are 5 times the price of a normal makeup wipe? It's not because it does anything different. It wipes all your makeup off with a very beautiful serum, but it's because people really care about sustainability and go, you know what, I actually want to make a difference and I don't want to pollute our earth and I'll do that. And that's why they're buying that brand. But if Conserving Beauty had brought out just another packet of wipes, no one would buy them. Yeah. And that is my case in point.
Yeah. Okay.
That's their brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
My God.
So many good tips. All right. So it's common for a business to slow down or struggle at times. But when you do, when do you know your business or startup is just not successful? Like at what
this
point
is a hard
do
one.
You just go, darling, just give up? I love it. I hate it. Like I never tell anybody to give up. I'm always like, go for it, go. But when do you just like, it's just not going to work?
It's a hard one. I think depends what success looks like to you is a starting point because that's how you define failure. So this is like a terrible one.
It's a hard, Is it when you are spending money and for a certain amount of time and not seeing any sales?
Okay, so if you spend money on performance marketing, let's say, or a marketing for a while and you don't see a sale, it's likely not to do with the marketing mix. It's likely to do with the product or the website. So probably
maybe if you start getting a lot of negative feedback, which is just like a given.
I think like if you have a website that converts under 2%, for example, you've either got a shitty product, excuse my language, or you've got a terrible website.
Okay,
that's a starting
under
point.
2%.
Under 2%.
Yeah, and how would people, if they're on a Shopify site, see that?
Okay, so on the dashboard of Shopify, when you go like your master dashboard, you can see like your traffic, your average order value, and your conversion rate.
Okay.
And so under 2%, I'd be saying you need to either look at your product and pricing compared to competitors, like do an analysis, or look at the actual website, like where people are getting stuck. You can do a lot of things to check the website. UX, like heat map site. There's you can use like a website called SmartLook and it actually tracks every single person that goes to your website and finds where there's blockages and stuff, right? And looks where there's clicks. The reason why I speak about a conversion rate, and people sometimes don't actually realize how much you can hack e-commerce. So I'm going to speak to this at a very top level. I mean, I could do a whole entire series on this, but it's called conversion-based marketing or the conversion marketing matrix. And so I don't think people realize that the revenue goals they have, so they want to make $50,000 for their business, that is the only metrics they have to hack in their business is their traffic, their average order value, and the conversion rate, because your traffic times your average order value times your conversion rate is your revenue. So for all of our clients, if my client says to me, I want to make $100,000 this month, and we know that their average order value based on their product mix is $90 and their conversion rate is 2.2%, we can work out how much traffic we need at the website. To make $100,000. So we'll go, okay, cool, you need 25,000 people. And then we go, how are we going to acquire those 25,000 people? So we'll go, okay, we're going to get 2,000 from organic social because we know on Google Analytics it's on average every month. We're going to pay for 5,000 people from Facebook at a cost of 2,500. We're going to pay for 10,000 via TikTok at a cost of 2,000. We work backwards and say to our client, all right, we need $10,000 to make you this. And they look at us like, okay, cool. And that's as easy as it is.
But it's because you can show them and say,
correct.
this is how
and we also know how to market.
Yeah.
But for other brands, similarly, if you've got under 2% conversion rate or under $100 average order value, I should have said this too, you're not going to go very far with e-commerce.
Okay.
Because the cost of acquiring people is going to outweigh the revenue.
They're going to get to the website and fall flat.
Yeah, you're just not going to, you're going to have to spend more to make less than you spend. Like you're going to have to spend 50 grand to make 30 grand.
Okay. So it's not really enough.
And so that to me is when you know your business is going to fail.
Yeah.
So so then the solution, because I feel like I shouldn't be a negative Nancy today, but the solution is to work on your conversion rate. You either can do things like heat map.
Yep.
You can look at your product and pricing and see if that is going to be the reason why people aren't converting, because you might be like, cool, my product's great, but it's $30 more than any other product in the market. So we're in a recession. We have to be realistic that price is really a sensitive topic. Or if it's average order value, you can look at how you can bundle your products to get them to a higher average order value, or look at doing a free shipping threshold over $100, to drive people to
poke around a bit when things start to maybe slow down.
This is where a marketing agency,
this
is where a marketing agency or a consultant has.
Yeah, you can probably get like an audit. And
that is
the information. And
correct, because that's how you work back. Because I think to say to your point, like how you know if a brand's going to fail, I think how I know a brand won't scale versus fail.
That would probably be better,
would be when they don't have over 2% conversion rate or their average order values under $100, unless their key metrics or their goals are outside of just their online store.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of brands that have smaller average order values, like $75, and their conversion might be like 1%, but their main business is run off a B2B model. So they've got huge wholesale, and so their online's like a nice to have.
Yeah, but if you're 100% online.
If you're an online only business with no retail distribution, then and you want to make money from your online store, you're not making money through other channels, then you really do need to make sure you got those stats. Yeah.
Cool.
So the conversion marketing matrix to anyone that owns an eComm brand, to work out, like if you want to make 50 grand, you've got to work backwards. Your traffic times your average order value times your conversion rate will give you that number.
Yeah. Okay. Do you do
every month
brand audits? Just
we
one-off?
We do.
You don't have to come in a client. You can just come and do a brand audit, and then they take that information.
Correct. So we do that with me, or we do that with our head of digital, Jessie.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's really good. You do that. It's like it's helpful, but for people
and they can also though sometimes they can take that and then execute with their internal team, or execute through a smaller contractor network.
Yeah.
We are definitely not the cheapest agency in the industry, but our pricing is in reflect of our quality.
Yeah.
But I understand also that small business it's budget sensitive. So then being able to tap into our knowledge but not have to pay us to execute is a really nice starting point.
It is a good starting point. Yeah. I like that. All
Much better.
So get an audit done. I like the idea of that. And all right, I'm just going to make sure that we have touched all points here. We're talking about promotions and discounts.
Yes.
So
it's a perfect day. Today's Black Friday. So it's a great day.
Oh my gosh, I need to get
great day to talk about it.
Today.
It's a great day to talk about it.
If you're trying to build an elevated brand, like how many discounts is too many? How many emails is too many?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say something. If you start discounting your product, your customers are going to wait for it to be discounted. So there's two strategies you can take. There's a fast-moving consumer goods style strategy, which is you're willing to put your product on sale around every key milestone. So like it's our 5th birthday, here's a sale. It's Black Friday, here's another sale. It's bloody Easter, here's another sale, right? You have to be consistent.
Sale.
Or you literally have like once a year annual like clearance sale.
Premium, we don't do a sale.
Yeah.
Pay what you pay.
And it also depends. Premium brands, it's really funny because premium brands like today, like your Net-a-Porter, Matches Fashion, they're all on sale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're the premium brands.
I see like some small boutique brands are not on sale. And I've even seen them post, we don't do sales. We, we put a lot of work into this. We're not going to sale.
Which I think is very fair.
Really,
very
want
fair.
You guys to pay
One of my clients today is actually doing you buy anything and they'll actually donate 20% of your order to charity because they say don't just purchase products because they're on sale, because most of I think it was like 80% of Black Friday products end up in landfill. Because it's just like it's mass consumerism, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this like I'm in digital marketing. All I want is mass. I mean, one of my clients yesterday launched a sale and made $490,000 in an hour.
Oh, God.
But it is mass consumerism.
Yeah.
So like I see both sides of the story. And so then I've got other clients that are offering like just if you buy from us, we're going to donate part to charity today instead of giving you a discount, which I think is really nice.
I like that.
Because there are less fortunate. I also think perhaps this year, seeing that like Matches Fashion and Net-a-Porter, et cetera, are on sale, they never really are on sale, is an indication of the climate.
Yeah.
So it depends what climate you're building a business in, because if you're building a business in a recession, people are cost sensitive.
Yeah.
Cost of living is now through the roof. If you're
Building
building
worse.
yeah, if you're building a business in a boom, you have a bit more, you have a leverage and luxury. So there's so many criteria that come into it. I would say
I do like how there's two angles.
There's two angles.
Just sit and you wait, and that's my business,
and
or you're
slow, you're sustainable. You're not like a fast moving product that you have to move your SKUs through.
Yeah.
Or you are.
And that comes back to what kind of business you want to run. If you want to run a business that it's fuels your family and your lifestyle, and you're comfortable financially, and it's your baby.
Yep.
Then maybe you don't have to like crush every sale. But if you want to get mass and big and huge,
correct, you have to be competitive.
Push.
You have to be competitive, because if you're not on sale, they'll buy from someone else.
Yeah,
you'll lose your customer to someone else.
Okay,
I know.
That's good advice. And with what are some cross promotion strategies or ideas? So there's a lot of cross promotion between brands at the moment. How
we cross promote so many of our clients, because it's just this actually, I should have even spoken to this for like new brands, reaching out to other brands to cross promote, to tap into their market. Yeah. So there are a few ways. A couple of our favorites in agency, you'll see a lot of our clients cross promote. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today. It's getting to the end. Is we will do gift with purchase swaps.
Yes.
So say you're going to give 10 products worth $1,000 to another brand, and they're going to give you 20 products worth $1,000. So you swap retail value.
Okay.
And then you gift the other brand's product to your customers for spending a threshold.
And it's within the same
customer base. So, for example, we might align like a hair care brand with a lash serum brand, because you've got very similar cohort. You wouldn't, for example, do like a men's shaving cream and like a women's mermaid waver. It just would make no sense, right? So you've got to make sure the brands would have similar audiences or similar. And like as an agency, one of the best things we have is that we have insight, because we know the data for both brands. We go, perfect alignment, let's do it. So you could do a gift with purchase swap. So we did a gift with purchase swap between Gem and Mermaid, and they swapped. Did so well from both ends.
Okay, that's good.
So that's a very cheap marketing tool, because one, all you're swapping is your product, which you obviously pay wholesale, not retail on, and you're getting product in return for that, and you use that product as a marketing incentive to new customers. So that you might say to your customers, if you're the first 10 people to shop today, we're going to give you a mermaid hair waver valued at $100. All you've got to do is spend $100 or spend $200. So then you get a quick win of cash flow too. So that's that could be a really good.
That's really good for startups and and aligning it with other small startups.
Correct.
And I call them like your brand friends.
Yes, of course. It is.
Use on repeat.
And then another collaboration opportunity is to do a cross-promoted lead generation campaign. So put together a prize pack per se that gets run by both brands through their paid ads channels, being like, sign up to win this incredible $750 female pack.
Yes, there were a lot happening through COVID actually.
Yeah, and it builds out your database. Both people build out their database, and they get to tap into this whole entire new database of emails that they can market to, because email marketing is obviously a brilliant channel.
Yes.
And, of course, there's the traditional collaborations like social media tag to follow to win.
Yep.
I'm not as big of a fan, because I think it's much more of a vanity metric, like getting tangible things, so like either products you can use in a gift with purchase, or getting emails that you can use to remarket to and communicate to is more valuable, I think.
And with email marketing.
Oh my God, don't maybe. I'm just from my eye. I just like I was saying my eye. I was like, no, not now. I'm like going to be twitching in the corner.
With email marketing, after you send out an email and you can look at the stats, what is a good percentage of like
open rates, etc.?
Yeah, what should people be looking at? Because they are low, which for new businesses are like, oh, that's sad. But what are we?
It really changes per industry. My recommendation is, because it changes all the time.
Yeah.
My recommendation would be, if you're on like Klaviyo or MailChimp, they have like information centers where you can look at what is best practice or industry standard, and then benchmark to that. So if you're under industry standard, you need to look at like, was your subject line off? So was the content like you can optimize? You can even optimize who you're sending to. So a lot of time people get stuck in, I'm going to send to my whole list. We do not do that at Chain. We don't send to whole list ever.
Yep.
We will send to segmented lists. So we will send to like people that have opened emails in the last 7 days, people that purchased the product 28 days ago, people that have viewed the product but haven't purchased. Like, it is so segmented.
So many,
So we send more emails, but customers only get one because they're only getting the one they're segmented to, and the results are phenomenal from that. So that's another opportunity as well. It's because if you're also sending out to a large cohort that's not going to be interested in your open rate and your click rate's lower. If you send out to a qualified segment, it's higher. So you can optimize. Kind of back to the brand audit thing. You can get someone to help and look at it and audit, because you can't be expected to know everything about email marketing when you start, but you can use like Klaviyo or MailChimp's like benchmarks as a really good baseline to see whether you're kind of sitting in a good area. But we do say to clients to invest into email marketing because it really is.
It is a good one.
It's a great one because you own the data.
Yeah.
You're renting space on Facebook, Google, Pinterest, TikTok.
Inbox.
Whereas with your email list, you own that.
Okay.
No one can take that. So if Facebook died tomorrow, fell off the face of the earth, lots of businesses that just focus on Facebook would just crumble. They'd die. There'd be so many online businesses that would just go.
So all those businesses on Instagram, get on TikTok.
No, seriously, I'm not joking. We do. We're transitioning so many. We work with Latan, the tanning house in Australia, and we've just moved them to TikTok because they went on TikTok. And I'm like, you're a massive heritage brand and you're going to miss out the boat.
So what's next after TikTok? I know YouTube has started launching shorts.
YouTube shorts.
It was always just big.
Correct.
YouTube shorts are going massive.
Correct. And also.
And then they have their community, so you can post. So it's kind of like YouTube has the feed, the shorts, the big.
Correct.
So it's about getting subscribers.
Our head of social always talked about BeReal too, but not sure yet how.
BeReal.
Yeah, BeReal's like a new.
Okay. I'm gonna get on it now because I'm always like 4 years late on everything.
And I also don't want to I feel like
do you want to say it and then it's not the
No, I just don't want to say it and then people go, oh my God, another thing I have to do. So I think right now.
But then Instagram's gonna be gone. So you kind of just
I think right now focus on TikTok and maybe dabble in BeReal. But I'm not personally active on BeReal, whereas a lot of my team are, but I'm yet to understand how BeReal would monetize for businesses.
Okay.
And therefore I don't want to make the call that it is.
No, you're not going to make it a call in your business yet. Like for businesses.
But for people, yes.
This is the first I've heard about it. How out of touch am I?
I think it's very
there you
go.
No, I might have heard of like once. And I'm like, I just don't want to talk about another app right now. Concentrating on
I feel you. It's too much.
It's too much.
It's too switch off, yeah.
So a few more questions.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What is there? How important is PR to a business?
Oh, okay. So 2020, we're in 22, going into 2023. It's imperative. It comes back to that authority piece, that awareness piece. We don't even do PR, so I'm not even biased in saying because we offer it as a service. PR and marketing go hand in hand. PR builds buzz. It builds authority. It builds noise.
It's like you're
disruption.
Worth talking about. You're worth writing about.
And also normally these days, events and disruption will drive PR. So it's very you used to be able to send a media release and you'd get an article. Now it's like, what are you doing to disrupt the industry that's getting PR? So I'll give you a perfect example. One of my clients recently launched a lingerie brand called Nala, and it's all about, very being disruptive, confident. Like it's a really great brand, right?
Yeah.
So for their launch PR tactic, they put red seamless G-strings on cars all around Bondi Beach and all around Bondi with letters saying, you left these at my house last night. And they put them in the windscreen wipers and it got so much press coverage, so much social media coverage, you put them on the map straight away. People go, oh my God, it was talked about everywhere. It was buzz.
And it was their undies or just a random?
It was their undies. It was their red Nala underwear.
That's how they gave, So that was your idea?
No, I would never take
that credit for that one.
Credit for something that wasn't my idea. I definitely think if I'd been given the opportunity, I don't work in PR, but I think I'm very creative. So I think I could have come up with something. But that was done one of our PR partners, and she's brilliant. Yeah. And we work with her a lot across a lot of our clients.
Okay, so if we want PR, it's not just about contacting a.
Oh no, it's not.
Like,
no. It's thinking.
Doing something.
It's doing events that get talkability. It's doing activations that create noise and disruption because you'll drive press off the back.
But it doesn't have to be bad disruption. So it's like that was cute and funny.
Oh no,
adorable.
We're definitely not having like all PR's good PR thing right now. We're more saying like just doing great.
Just stuff that gets noticed.
Just make noise.
Yeah, just make noise.
But that is aligned with your brand.
And that's very grassroots noise. It's like people going around putting undies on cars.
Even when Chain in 2018 when Chain was like kind of booming or like get on its way like up, I should say, growing, for World Pizza Day, we aligned with Doc, there's Doc in Carlton, but there's one in Mornington. We aligned with them and we had pizza boxes made that were like pink checkered Chain pizza boxes and it said like happy Happy Well Pizza Day Love chain on the inside, and we delivered them to so many of our clients and key opinion leaders in our area, and it made so much noise because everyone was receiving dock pizzas from chain.
And you was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Okay,
It was great.
It's a collabs.
Yeah. And it was so cheap to do. It made so much noise.
And that boosted clients for you?
Yeah.
straight
And
away?
we got like 500 new Instagram followers out of it.
Oh.
I know,
It doesn't
crazy.
happen anymore.
No, but still.
And just some final words for business owners.
Yes.
The new and weathered.
Yes.
Or the business dreamers.
Yes.
For them. Like,
as in, like, what's my final?
Well, before we have final say, what else? Yeah, is there anything else that
comes to mind? I mean, it's
just
hard.
Some advice or tips on business running.
Okay, yes. So I think really
that we haven't covered, that we really, really feel we should cover.
Probably we have covered it, but just making sure that the product, you actually have a lot of passion about the product you want to take to market.
Good, because there's a lot of competition out there and you're passionate.
But you're passionate about it because the e-commerce journey is not
what it used to be.
Sunshine and rainbows. Yeah. It's actually really a hard slog where you probably won't make money out of the business for years. So you've got to know what your long-term, what the why is. And all the brands I know that have succeeded have had whys.
There's a why. There's a reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Have a reason. And I mean, I always call it the brand story. And then it's like, why are you doing this? Because if you don't know why you're doing something, there's no reason to keep doing it.
Well, that's it. And sorry, I'm just going to fix my top because I realize it's like halfway around. I'm like, that's great. Flashing everyone. That's been my biggest takeout. I know it sounds really corny, but it really is. If people ask me always, like, what's the secret sauce? Because you've got so many successful brands.
You have to have a reason.
And it's reason. And also think of building a business or brand like building a house.
Yeah.
So you couldn't skip the foundation phase. And it's most of the time the most expensive, cutting into land, putting down a slab. And genuinely, like your branding, your website, your tone of voice deck, that's going to set the tone for what we do after.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything with really crappy foundations. Yeah. It's like a builder couldn't build a house on a uneven block or a really badly poured slab.
And branding, and I'll look into the camera when I say this, branding, it can take time. There are some.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
You know, sometimes I do get clients say, can I have this in a couple of weeks? And I was like, I can't build the foundation of your business in 2 weeks.
You can't rush it.
I need to understand why. I need to understand you as a person.
Correct.
So then I can relate. I need to really connect it. Correct. And then I can be okay. And it's not the logo. It's everything.
It's everything. It's the aura around it. Yeah, it's everything that makes the brand. Yeah, I agree.
It is. It's from the logo, and it's like what colors. There's all this depth in color therapy. There's fonts. Like certain fonts evoke certain emotions, certain target audiences. Yes. Does it work with the colors? Does it work with the logo? But then it's your tone of voice. Copywriters do tone of voice documents, and then there's the photography style. Like you can't. And then what are they wearing? Where are they? Like are they? What's everything like? So branding is. There is I need a logo, and then there's what is the brand for your business.
Oh, for sure.
And it takes a long time to get that, but then you got your foundation.
Correct. And I would also probably say that digital marketing is, people in industry and maybe not industry are always like, just put your products on Facebook ads or just, ads will do everything for your business.
Yeah.
Ads actually don't do everything for your business. They only complement what you've got. Or for example, the brands that do best on ads with us, the brands that have built a community, have proof of market because we then just scale the demand versus creating the demand. Yeah. And the way to create demand is through press, through hardcore community building, just slogging it out in the early days. Truly. So I wouldn't rely on performance marketing as your
launch and then
as your launch.
Yeah.
No, I think it's influencer.
Hit those streets.
If you have great budget, sure.
Yeah.
But if you're more conscious, it's not the first step, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. And I feel like I have quite a lot of knowledge in this space, and I would, if I was launching a direct-to-consumer brand today, performance marketing would come maybe 3 or 6 months in after I've cemented myself,
made connection
through other areas. I've even just sent my product out and I've had consumer feedback. What if the product actually sucks or the packaging is leaking? And I've spent all this money on performance marketing, I've wasted it because I have to just cut my product back or I'm on pre-order now or whatever, right?
Yep, and to reproduce.
Yeah. So I think that it's definitely not the magic pill that everyone says it is, but it also is a life-changing tool when it's supported by a product that's brilliant and it's got great foundations. There's definitely a process to building a great brand. But yeah, that's what I've got to say. And I've just spoken for so long that I feel like I'm maybe a little bit like brain fried right now.
We will stop then.
I know.
It's like Forrest Gump.
Thank you.
30 seconds, that's all I've got to say about that.
That's me right now being like, and that's all.
That's all I got to say.
I realized just before that my top was like halfway.
I didn't even know.
I'm like, was my
We'll put like a
breast
web banner.
I think my breast might have been hanging out to the camera. So
well, thank you.
Great time for Tim to edit.
So much. Yeah. Thank you so much
Thanks, Justine.
for your time, your story, and yeah,
Thank
I know
you.
you have to go. So.
I'm so excited to have a big glass of water and listen to some great music in the car. But thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Pleasure coming in, and hopefully people can get a little bit out of it.
A little bit. And contact Chain. We'll put the details in the show notes. And
Thanks.
yes, this is Shelby with Truth on a Pedestal.
Thank you.